out of all of the programs that we have, is the most competitive in the industry. We have many different options, more so for just as much, I would say, for the taxpayer that we have these advantages, we also have these advantages for the ERO. So we have high approval rates. I'm not sure. I'm not really a numbers girl. I don't know how much approval rate, maybe Ricardo, you have those numbers, but I know that they're very high, and a lot of our customers are happy. They're happy with how, our taxpayer refund model, how it gets those numbers out quickly. It's fast. I've seen advances be quick as 10 minutes. They're calling me asking me, where's the money? And we just got the application, but I've seen those come in quickly, and they're available for new EROs. I think that's the biggest
That's
advantage
huge.
because,
Yeah.
yeah, especially because a lot of banks, they won't necessarily open that risk for you, but we will. We know that there's a need, especially those service bureaus that are servicing offices that are brand new. Maybe last year they had a PTIN, this year they have an EFIN. And if you want to add value to the office, you want to be able to provide things like taxpayer advances. And we offer those to new EROs. You don't have to have any prior banking history. You don't have to have any kind of information for us to say, you know what, we'll be happy to allow you to do that. And of course, taxpayer advances, it gets to be a touchy subject sometimes because people, they're surprised by the marketing fees, but don't forget there are marketing fees. Just as much as we have programs that don't have marketing fees, and Ricardo mentioned e-advance. E-advance is one of those programs. So definitely, if you're open to refund advances, it's probably a great way to start. Adding to your refund transfers, we have many options, minimum 250 and maximum $7,000.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of money going out.
Yeah. We also have another way for offices if you're not on our e-advance program. If the customer, again, back to the faster money card, helping the customer get their money as fast as 4 to 5 days earlier. But that card also will help with you saving money on marketing fees. So not only are you helping the customer
Exactly.
get the funds faster on their card loaded when their funding starts to happen, it's also saving you marketing fees on in-season loans. It's also saving you some time too, right? That customer doesn't have to keep coming back to your office. Once they did their return, they picked up their card, they don't have to come back and get a check, right?
Right.
So that's saving you time for those people, for those offices that have take in-office appointments and stuff like that. They don't have to keep coming back. You don't have to worry about printing a check, them cashing a check. Again, like our Fast Money card also has like in-house card services. So we support our cards here. You don't get transferred to a different company or anything. Like we don't outsource any of our support, but that's another great way to save on marketing fees.
Right.
And we have the cheapest marketing fee already, but we want to still help you save even more money, right? Our goal is to stay out of your pocket, help you grow your business, help you grow in general. Especially, I know this is a service bureau group, so yeah, just like Dora was saying earlier, like allowing new offices that you're bringing on to get access to loans is huge. It's a huge help for them to start their business and have access to this. They can market that and get people in the door.
Right. Right. And I think like statistic wise, Ricardo and I, we work with high volume EROs. We work with all types, as small as it gets,
Mhm.
as big as you can think of.
Yeah.
And we normally see trends with no cost loans when it comes to taxpayers. That means like more than 50% of taxpayers are coming and they're saying, yeah, I'll take a loan, but what is the interest? And we have that option that is no interest. It's no cost to the taxpayer. So that's a really good benefit for them. It saves costs not only for them, but it saves costs also for you, in terms of the faster money and, getting back to that. But if more than anything, we want to leave you with this phrase, our president of the company always, mentions this, but we loan more money to more people at a lower cost than anybody does in the industry. It may be true, another bank could give you $5,000 for a startup advance, but you've got to look at the bottom line, the cost that you're paying to repay that back. And as far as interest loans, as far as pricing is concerned, that is how we can save you money there, but to also grow your revenue, and put those fees instead of in our pockets into your pockets. All
Awesome. Thank
right.
you, Pathward. And just for everybody listening, if somebody wants to reach you guys in person, what events will you guys be at this year?
We'll be at all of them. We'll be at all of your events. We'll be at the IRS events. We'll be at Latino Tax Board. We'll be at NAVA. We'll be at ABTP. We'll be at
USA
every
TaxCon.
USA TaxCon.
Yeah.
We'll be at every event
Like
this
big
summer.
regional events. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, give us a
Uh,
call. I don't know if we have more time or
do we have a little bit more time,
Yes, we
or do
do. We
you want
do.
us to wrap up?
No,
Okay.
you, no,
okay.
no, you
No, no,
do.
you're fine. We know we're on a time slot now.
Okay.
Um, so just to kind of quickly wrap up a couple of things. Of course, there's additional different types. I feel like there's questions about, if you're becoming a service bureau, do you have to have bank products? And that's a really good question. But if you're bringing on tax offices that don't do bank products, or you're trying to sell to them, to do bank products, because as a service bureau, you're collecting those back end fees, right? And you want to produce as much volume. That's how you get the better deals with the bank. That's how you get the better deals with, with the EROs. And so there's always this big question of, do you have to have bank products to have a successful service bureau? Now, that would be a great question for the service bureaus that are going to be speaking today. But absolutely, we believe that these refund transfers, it creates not only a way for you to collect your fees through those taxpayer refunds, but it's a way for you to be able to say, you know what, this taxpayer may not have these funds now, but I'm helping this taxpayer by providing this service. And you're helping your communities by providing those refund transfers. And so there's a couple of questions on, what about those refund transfers that don't fund? What happens there? I can use the service, but what if the IRS doesn't pay me my money? Well, great thing we have programs for that, because we have what's called an unfunded tax preparation program. On the EPS side, it's called eAssist. On the Refund Advantage side, it's called Fee Defender. And basically, the idea of this program is we collect those preparation fees of those refund transfers that did not fund. And that's an additional way for you to be able to get paid. Definitely a program that, and we'll leave links, in the chat or somewhere, we'll leave links for you to be able to go to our website and look at the program. It speaks for itself. There's no hidden cost there. And it's definitely a way for you to get paid on those that did not fund. That's always been, one of the biggest questions that we come to terms with. And then, of course, we have service bureau options. Different service bureau options for us are things like royalty fees, invoice options. So those are ways that you can, like, for example, if you have a tax office that you're signing up through your service bureau, right? And maybe you've lent them $1,000 because you wanted to help them open an office. You can charge, we do fee intercepts, and you can charge through what we call royalty, through what we call invoice. So there's different ways for you to be able to collect your money as they're producing tax preparation fee. It may not be upfront that you're getting that repayment, but it will be secure as long as they're producing those refund transfers, especially if they already do them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Let's just put our contact information up really quick, Doris, so everybody can see that.
Yeah.
And we're wrapping up. But yeah, this is our contact information. I wanted to thank everybody again for our time. We'll be online, so if you want to chat with us or anything like that, feel free to chat with us. We'll put some more information and links in the chat for you guys as well. But if you guys want to screenshot our contact information for Refund Advantage and EPS, give us a call. We have the whole sales team available now. And we also have webinars coming up, so stay tuned for our webinars that we have on our platforms with more information on where we'll be this summer, program updates, industry news, and again, we'll be on all Nicosi's webinars and events, and we'll be sharing that information with you guys on their platforms as well. Thank you again, Javier and everybody.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you,
you all
Pat,
so much.
Yeah, and then also, if you want to reach out to them, their information is up on the screen right now. But if you want to reach out to them, there will also be a Ngozi. They have their own group, so if you want to go there and chat or ask a question, you can reach out to us as well. Patrick is also working with in our tax academy that we do every month. We do one in English and we do one in Spanish with service bureaus that are teaching like a tax class, and we invite one of our banking partners to come in. So thank you, Patrick, once again.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. And just kind of keep it going. Our next item on the agenda is our service bureau panel. And so we've invited 3 service bureaus that we want to be on our panel to start out with. The first one is going to be Jasmine Dabbs from Wizard Tax. She's located out of Dallas, Texas. The next one is going to be Lakeisha Porter with Idea Tax Pro, and she's located in Memphis. And then our last one is Abe Adan. I've known Abe for a while. He's with Tax Shield, and he has a search for out of the Memphis area as well. So welcome, you 3. You would kind of introduce yourselves to our members.
I'll go first. My name is Lakeisha. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. My company is Gifted Hands Financial, and I have software Idea Tax Pro that I would like to eventually introduce to everyone and get them on board, and also go over some things regarding becoming a service bureau.
Gotcha.
My name is Abe Adana. I'm from Taxo Software, and we have some really interesting software implementations like CRM that we built ourselves that we've kind of cultivated in the last 10 years. And that's really what we're here to show you guys and ladies as well.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Dabbs. I'm with Wizard Tech Software. We offer an online software with a client portal and the option for business online. We also do marketing, and we have a funding and insurance portal as well for our service bureaus that sign on to help kind of turn their independent tax company into a multi-service company.
Awesome. And for this panel, you 3, I just want to do like a round robin and just ask a couple questions and kind of get your input on the tax industry. The first question I want to ask you guys is, I went to a Stanford event, and it said a lot of the, for the Latino side, Hispanic generation, the second and third generation are starting to get into taxes. So for your service bureaus, what would you say? Do you guys have any strategies in place for the younger generation that are just getting started in taxes and looking to either purchase software or do bank products? Or do you guys have any strategies to engage that younger generation?
Yeah, absolutely, man. We've actually turned our CRM into multilingual, so now you can actually get it in both English and Spanish. But the biggest thing is we kind of think outside the box. It's not something that you're able to find in anywhere in the industry. We concentrate on our customers growing, and we put our money where our mouth is. Basically, what that means is we have like automated referral system that's also integrated with TaxSlayer, CrossLink, and TaxWise that would automatically do the referral system for you. And when you give me a little slot of time, I'll be able to go in deeper. But it's more about innovation, which is more of a young thing. So I think they'll catch on pretty quickly.
Okay, awesome.
One thing I can say is marketing. This day and age, people need to do a lot of marketing, social media marketing. I call it foot on the ground marketing. That means go around to different businesses, networking, let them know what type of businesses you have to offer, introducing your software, just engaging with the community. So a lot of people need to work on, like the newer generation need to work on engaging more with the community. Have fundraisers, do back to school rallies. That's how we can grow your company that way too.
Okay. And Jasmine?
I think for me, if I had anything to share, on top of being innovative, I think we also need to understand that strategy is important. So is knowing your target market, and knowing too at the beginning of your strategy what your long-term goal is. What's the end? A lot of people get into the tax industry, and for them, it's more so, oh, I can make some quick money and then it's over with. And I think the younger generation is forgetting about the longevity of clientele and what that means for your business, whether you're an individual owner, whether you're a partnership, or whether you're just, a service bureau. And so I think we have to understand that outside of innovation, outside of getting in the community, that strategy is the most important thing here. And it has to make sense. It has to make sense. And on top of it making sense, it has to fit not only the target market that you are trying to access, but it also has to fit the people you've hired. And so I think we have to understand that as well. It's not just about making money. It's not just about being creative. It's understanding, do I have the people on the inside that can make this thing come to fruition?
Gotcha. Okay. My next one is,
Can I say, and piggybacking off of what she said, you are absolutely right, because when I do my training, I train my EROs to make sure they do everything correctly, stay compliant, make sure they talk to their clients, make sure they stay vocal throughout the whole process. Because if you don't talk to your clients, if you don't communicate with your clients, that's how you run your clients off. Or if it's a money game to you, then you can run your clients off too, because you're charging too much, or you're just overdoing the process. So when I do my training, I try to get everyone on the same page to where we all in this for one reason, is just to satisfy the client and make sure the client is happy and make sure taxes is done right and correct and properly and legal. So just piggyback off what you said. You are absolutely right.
okay. And I know all three of y'all have had successful tax offices before you've started your service bureau, right? You still have your tax offices. So my next question is, during tax season, how do you prioritize the two?
I have an assistant.
Okay.
It helps me stay organized. I work on the tax part, and she works on making sure the service, everyone gets a phone call, make sure I stay in contact with the service bureaus. If anyone has a question, she send me the questions that people has, and I just reply. So having an assistant really helped me grow my service bureau too also. And you can also use a virtual assistant too. If you don't want to have anyone in person, you can also use a virtual assistant.
Okay.
I guess I'll go next. For us, the service bureau is actually the main business for us. We keep two offices in order to make sure that we have something that is in the front lines, and we want to make sure that when we develop something in the CRM or in this tax software, we want to make sure that we have we touch it first. We kind of use it and experiment with it and in our own offices before we open it up for the public, for the market.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm not really in the office anymore. I'm in the back office, basically.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. I think for us, it's two parts. So first part is knowing what your client expectation is of you. And the other part is giving them what we expect them to do, because this doesn't work if one party doesn't do its job. If you bring me half information, I can't file a tax return with that. So in that, again, it's just basically what is your procedure? So for us on the tax side, because I have multiple tax offices and then I have service bureau, which are two totally different strategies that are put in place, or anything to keep communication open. So as for us is we start basically with a conversation intake. What is it that you have? If you're a new client, what is the information you filed before? I always, and I'm that person, and some people say I go overboard, but I'm that person that I want to see your prior year tax return if you've never done your taxes with one of our offices. Also, from there, we want to establish, hey, how do we communicate? We have a client portal that doesn't require 5 or 6 different logins attached to the software. They can find everything there, whether it's their tax return, where's my refund, how much it is before fees, after fees. if they got any questions. The software also allows for communication through a text message, through email. And so you have to have those communication platforms open so that if you're busy in the office, that you can still respond and your client can still reach out to you. It's also about training your people to communicate properly.
Yeah.
What the tax laws are, what has changed, any updates, and then knowing just how to talk to people. And so from there, and I'm not going to get into grave detail because we only got an hour, but how you intake paperwork. What is your measurement when it comes to intaking paperwork and actually putting it in the system? I'm not one of those offices that you can walk in and get your taxes done in an hour, okay? Because we want to make sure that we are double checking paperwork, making sure we're not missing anything to try to avoid as many amendments as possible that we don't necessarily have to do. And so after your return, before your return is submitted, there's another conversation that's taking place. I'm not submitting anything, or office manager is not submitting anything until you had that last conversation with the client about their tax return, the refund, the amount the refund is before and after fees. And then again, after you get a signature. So we send nothing without a signature. And then I think the last part of that communication is that waiting period from the time you submitted it until it's funded by the IRS. Because I think that's where a lot of clients get impatient.
Okay.
And so I think there is a level of stuff that you can do there to provide, you know, a little bit more security in the process of them waiting.
Gotcha. And I know we have a lot of the major software platforms on here. For you guys in the service pro industry, or you three especially, how do you evaluate new technology before you are let out to all your offices? Like what do you guys look for? Is it the ease of use, or is it more like does it have to be online? Does it have to be desktop? What do you guys evaluate before you roll it out to your offices?
For me, it's who my target market is. I know the younger generation is geared toward everything mobile, everything that doesn't require them to be stuck in an individual place and having to do something. Well, we still have the Gen Zs, the baby boomers that still file. Some of them still file. And so for them, those clients, they are more hands-on. They want black and white. They want to come in the office. They want to sit down and be able to talk to somebody. And they need to be able to have something that is transparent and easy. And so for me, it's all about flexibility. Is it easy for clients, and is it easy for tax preparers that I hire? And is it functional, which means I don't want to have to log into a software to get my refund and then log into something else to sign it. So I think it's all about simplicity, all about being easy but still functional and still gets the job done.
Okay. Perfect. What about you, Lakeisha?
I steer more towards the online platform. I barely train on desktop. Only time I train with desktop if someone wants to learn how to do 1120 tax return. If I'm doing a training on corporate tax, that's the only time I use a desktop. But as she was saying, it's more easier to do online tax prep. Is more convenient. It's more like people can work at home now. You can go to someone's house to do their taxes. It's more easier to work that way. So I prefer the online base.
Okay.
I steer more towards that route.
Okay. And hey, what about yourself?
We do it all. We do online, we do desktop. And like she said, there's customers that's been in the game for 10, 15 years. So you don't want to exclude them just by going online. So for new preparers, I think the online is the best solution just from the past year experiences. It makes sense that, they want to be mobile. They don't want to be stuck in the office. And they can have 500, 600, 700 returns under them and still not have an office. And I've seen that so many times over. So, but then on the flip side, there's people that are just stuck with Crosslink or Drake or any of those desktop software. So they don't want to go anywhere. They're not willing to teach their employees again. They're stuck in their ways. So We have support staff. We actually have someone similar of what we're doing right now. Our support is strictly on Zoom, and we have rooms. So whether you're doing on the online or desktop, all you have to do is click a button, and you're directly talking to somebody instead of having to talk on the phone and somebody sends you an email with a link on it so they can share their screen and all that. You just come directly to the source. We figure the issue out, and you leave. That's been very that's been something like our customers have been really happy about, because it just takes, a split second to get a help, and then you're out doing your thing. But as far as the software is concerned, desktop, I feel like desktop is more it's not error prone, because you're not dealing with the Wi-Fi or like internet or whatever. So a lot of people kind of tend to stay with if they've been using Crosslink or Drake or any of those desktop applications, they tend to stick with it because you can still do returns without internet. It doesn't stop you. On the other end, on the software, on the online side, there's a lot of pros on that side. You can do returns on iPad, on your phone, for that matter. So it just depends on the customer, but we support both.
Okay, perfect. My last question for y'all is, hey, if you had to implement one innovation to improve tax services, what would it be? Or have you already implemented some innovation? What is it? You want to take that,
Good
Dave?
question.
So first, okay, so
Go ahead.
we're very drilled into innovation. My background is in computer science, so I apply that in everything that we do. We built our own CRM again, based on issues that we were having, problems that we were having. We wanted to make sure that we were able to send a mass text message to every client without having to go and pay arm and a leg. We wanted to listen to every phone call that comes in without having to pay arm and a leg to another third-party company. We wanted to be able to do referrals, direct deposit in the referrer's account without having the owner do anything at all. Just turn it on and let it go. So there's a lot of innovation that we've come up with, I feel like, and even the lead system. For instance, if a customer calls you and say, "Hey, I can't come in today, but I want to do my taxes," all you got to do is go into CRM, send them a link, and they fill out their information, upload their documents, and we already integrated with the tax softwares themselves, Crosslink, TaxSlayer, TaxWise. So what that does is, when you get it on your side, there's about 5 things that happen simultaneously. One, you get the lead on the CRM, you get notified on your cell phone, on your email. The return will be created in the tax software for you, along with the documentation. A referrer account is created for that client, and a text message goes out to them with their referral affiliate link that they can share with their friends and family. So there is a lot of things. I mean, it would take me an hour to sit here and talk about everything that we have, but I think innovation is probably the best thing to put in place, just making the ERO's life easier to do taxes, making the taxpayers' life easier to give their information and be able to just get their stuff done without having to come in or anything like that.
Awesome. Jasmine?
I would have to say 2 things. The first thing is making it available for do-it-yourself. Whether that's by a link from your software, or you have some people that still want to come in, kind of like, an online TurboTax, but they still want to come in the office, but they still want to do it themselves, and have the help there if needed. So that is work for us as well. So basically, come in, they set an appointment, or they set an appointment and then they come in, "Hey, I'm booking a do-it-yourself." And we have people there that if they need the assistance, they can. It's not the same price as you coming in sitting down with a tax preparer, but it allows them still that customer independence that they want to have, that customer control, and then it gives them that security that, hey, I can have somebody check this to make sure I did it right, and kind of go from there. The other thing is, we found that customers like it if you can be that one-stop shop in the same functionality or with the software or the application and they don't have to go to different companies to get those services complete. So we have a client portal that actually will give them that insurance quote or that funding quote or that annuity quote or anything like that, versus them having to leave, go somewhere else and sit down with somebody else and try to do that. We've learned that a one-stop shop also is better. I think it also too depends on who your target market is and the age bracket of those individuals.
Awesome. Thank you, Jasmine. And what about you, Lakeisha? If there's an innovation you can implement to help tax services, what would it be?
Better training.
Okay.
Yeah, better training. Just that simple. A lot of people walk around trying to grow tax company, build tax companies, get service bureaus, get EROs, get tax preparers, but no one properly trains preparers. So if we can get to where everyone can properly train their preparers, then we'll have a better system working and we'll have a little more trust in the community, because a lot of people fail to trust tax preparers now because a lot of tax preparers don't have the proper training, or they don't sit and do the online training like they're supposed to. That's why I prefer in-person training. Because it's easier. And I know they are listening. I know they're being transparent. I know they are participating, because you on Zoom don't necessarily mean they're participating. They're actually getting all the knowledge and they're actually learning. So just better training.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I want to thank you three for joining the Service Bureau panel this afternoon. And for our members watching across all our platforms, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you, and what shows will you be on if they want to talk to you in person?
I'll be on. I got to jump here. Sorry to go first, but we'll be at the Orlando and the New Orleans trade shows. We'll be presenters up there. And if you want to see any of those, or you want a demo, just go to gettaxshield.com. That's GETTAXSHIELD.com. And you can either book a webinar, book a call, or anything like that, or you can get my number from Javier and you call me directly. But I'll be glad to show you what we got. Now, I appreciate the time as well. Thank you.
And Jasmine?
We will be at the Latino Tax Pro Show. I'm not sure if we're going to do an IRS, but if you want to have a conversation, you can reach out to me by email at jdabs89@gmail.com or 469-777-1358. Shoot me a text or a call, and we can set up a Zoom from there if you want to go more in detail, or you just need some help strategizing.
Okay.
You can reach me on my website, which I will add in the chat. And also, my Facebook is Gifted Hands Financial. My phone number is 901-606-2658. You can reach me through text anytime, and I will give you a call back. My email is support@ideataxpro.com. If you're looking for proper training, if you're looking for some guidance, if you're looking for a mentor, then send me a message, give me a call. If you're looking for software, if your past provider hasn't been very transparent, you're looking for a transparent person, then reach out to me. I'll be the perfect service bureau for you.
Thank you, Lakeisha. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you, Javier.
Thank you all. And also, I just want to add all three of our participants on our panel. They're on our Service Bureau Academy that we do every month, where we invite them to come teach a class for our members. A lot of them may have EFINs, or a lot of them have P10s and are looking to get into starting their own office and purchasing software or doing bank products. So they are participants in our tax academy, and so if you want to know more about them, they'll be I think Jasmine, you're next month. Lakeisha just did one last month, and I think Abe is doing one in July.
Yeah, indeed. Through the tax academy, we thank Jasmine, Lakeisha, Abe, and the team here, because we want to be able to offer tax training to new EROs coming in, to new professionals. But instead of us doing it ourselves, we have a bunch of great experts like the different service bureaus that does it. So that's kind of our business model, right? We want to be kind of like more of a platform, kind of like Amazon or Airbnb or Uber, where it's more scalable for us to have great experts to actually be the instructors. But the way we announce it to the industry, yes, Ngozi does have tax training. Join us. And then depending on the month they join, they kind of get to discover Jasmine or Lakeisha or Abe or someone else. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. It's exciting. And we're gonna have this panel also. A lot of the panels today, guys, they're gonna be in person in San Diego. So if you are going to the September San Diego mega conference that we're doing, we're gonna cover all the new tax law changes that are coming up, but also the Service Bureau business model as well. So that's awesome, Javier. Thanks for inviting. Look at all these new faces. I love it.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, guys. So with that said, we're gonna continue here, and feel free to hang around, Jasmine, and whoever's next. So we're gonna take a small break. During the break, there's gonna be just like a 5-minute break. After the break, we're gonna have our friends at Walters Kluwer come on and do a great presentation. And let me actually share the agenda briefly, so we could all be aware of what's coming up. So after the break, we're going to have Business Success Blueprint for Service Bureaus. Ian Willison and Ashley Johnson from Walters Kluwer are going to be able to present that. Then we have our friends, Ernest with TaxSlayer, his panel, Crosslink and others. But during the break, I'm going to just go ahead and share this demo from our preferred tax software, My Tax Prep Office. They have a lot of great information for service bureaus as well to be able to help you scale. And if you don't use My Tax Prep Office in your service bureau, you may be interested in adding them to your operation, as it is a great tool online. So what I'm gonna do now, guys, I'm gonna just play this video during the break. Feel free to stick around. You can watch the video, go get some water, come back. We'll be back like in 5-7 minutes to continue the Service Bureau meeting. Thank you so much.
Welcome to My Tax Prep Office. In this quick video, we are going to learn how to do a married filing joint return from start to finish. First, on the client information sheet, we are going to select filing status number 2, married filing jointly. Next, we are going to enter the personal information for the taxpayer and the spouse. Now we are going to scroll down to enter this couple's address. One thing that is really nice about My Tax Prep Office is once you enter the zip code, we will automatically load the city and state for you. You can even add the state return based on the zip code entered here. For this year, we have 2 required questions on the client information sheet. One is for the 1095-A, and depending on how this question is answered, we'll decide whether the 1095-A will automatically load or not. Next, we are going to enter the dependent information. To do that, click the Add New button. Once the dependent information has been entered, you can select the credits that apply for that dependent. But most credits will automatically be checked for you depending on the information entered. Now let's give this return some income by adding 2 W-2s, one for the taxpayer and one for the spouse. If you are using an EIN you have used before, My Tax Prep Office stores the information in our EIN library to automatically pull the name and address for you. Now let's go to line 1 to enter the taxpayer's income and line 2 to enter their income tax withheld. This information will flow to the 1040. Now let's go to line 15 to enter the state information. First, click the Add New button and select your state from the drop-down list. Enter your employer's name and address for you. Now let's go to line 16 to enter the state information. First, click the Add New button and select Income Tax Withheld. This information will flow to the 1040. Now let's go to line 17 and select your state from the drop-down list. Enter your employer's state ID and state income tax withheld. The state wages are going to be pulled from line 1. Now let's give the spouse some income by adding another W-2 and selecting spouse from the drop-down list. We are using an EIN that is in our library, so the employer's name and address will automatically be populated for the spouse. Now let's go to line 1 to enter the spouse's income and line 2 to enter the tax withheld. Now let's go to line 15 to enter the state information. First, click the Add New button and select your state from the drop-down list. Enter your employer's state ID and state income tax withheld. The state wages are going to be pulled from line 1. Under deductions in the Forms Navigator, you will notice some credit forms have automatically been added. This is because of what was selected on the client information sheet. For this year, our couple qualified for the child tax credit. Since they qualify, we now need to complete our due diligence form 8867. This can be done quickly by selecting the correct boxes and entering the supporting documents we used. Now, let's complete our e-file summary. Enter the date. Check the box to indicate this return will be e-filed. Check the box to automatically generate a PIN for your clients. Enter your client's ID information. Select the first box for the taxpayer and spouse to authorize your firm to enter your client's PINs. Under the refund payment option, we are going to select paper check. At the bottom of the e-file summary, enter your preparer's ID to pull your information from the firm setup. Now, let's complete our state return. As you will notice, most of the information has already been carried over from the federal return to the state return automatically. If you do need to add a specific form or schedule to the return, you can do so by clicking the Add Form button. To complete our state return, we are going to select Paper Check. Now that our forms are complete, we're ready to e-file this return. Run a Perform Review to check for any errors. Then click E-File, Transmit Return. Select the federal and the state and click Send. That's it. Thank you for completing this return with me from start to finish.
Awesome. So we're back, guys. Thanks so much. Great little break. That's what we like to do during breaks. We like to show videos of our different partners and our different softwares and banks that are out there to have resources. Juan, nice seeing you again. Saludos, Miguel, back Ashley and such. So to continue today's webinar, and thanks for those that are still joining us here. And then we're actually also streaming to Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn for other people to follow us. So I want to introduce our next panelists. And from Walters Kluwer, the topic is Business Success Blueprint for Service Bureaus. And they're going to showcase how they provide support and allow these service bureaus to scale. So we have Ashley Johnson. I see Miguel Aviña. I don't know if Ian's going to join us too, but I know we got Miguel and Ashley live. So welcome, Ashley. Pass you the mic.
Hey, welcome. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. It has been some really great discussions so far. So I truly enjoyed hearing our Service Bureau panel just kind of speaking and sharing some of those keys to success because it was a perfect leeway into what we plan to discuss today. So thank you guys for sharing that. Before we get started, again, just to kind of go over who I am, my name is Ashley Johnson. I'm the sales manager here at TaxWise. And my team and I work to find tax professionals, whether new or existing, and bringing them into the Wolters Kluwer family. For many of you who may or may not know, the Wolters Kluwer slogan that we have is "When you have to be right." And what we've done this year is we've kind of taken a step back and we've really looked at the business and tried to figure out how can we help to push to the next level. And within that process, we figured out that, there's an area for us to help businesses truly scale and grow beyond just the typical format of creating a service bureau or a reseller market. Because what we've seen in recent years is the business is constantly shifting and changing. The model isn't what it was 5 years ago when I started. And because of that, that creates for us to have to be, unique and competitive in recognizing where can we really partner and help to, streamline businesses like service bureaus or resellers to help scale and grow them. So that's where we came up with our business success blueprint. So we're going to discuss that today, but I do want to get some crowd participation. So want to ask you guys, all of you who are a reseller or a service bureau, if you could please drop into the chat, what are some of your biggest roadblocks or challenges that you experience in managing your business. And then once we get a couple of comments, we'll kind of move on to the topic. But I do just kind of want to see if you guys could just share that insight. Yeah, that's a huge one. So supporting so many tax questions during tax season, definitely can understand that. You know, we're on the software side, in addition to you guys, and we get those same questions. So definitely understand that's a roadblock. And what we want to do is equip you guys so that you can handle those questions. One of the greatest things for us right now is we have the benefit of AI, which is coming in to kind of help you answer some of those questions. Because we want to always make sure, again, thinking about that slogan, when you have to be right, we want to be sure you can rely on having the resources and tools to assist your clientele with the questions that they may have regarding their tax situations. So don't really know if you guys have additional things that you were typing, feel free to drop it in, but we'll just kind of go ahead and move forward. So biggest thing that I see working as a sales manager when I'm working with tax offices is many of them, what I've seen, everyone wants to be a service bureau or reseller, but many lack the true planning. And I think it was Jasmine who mentioned this earlier, where she spoke on, you know, you have to have a plan, you have to figure out your strategy. That's where we come into play with, you know, partnering with you as a consultant to help you kind of look and take a step back. Whether you're brand new, we can help you create the blueprint to success. If you're a current existing service bureau and you're just like, hey, I've kind of stalled out, don't really know where I want to take my business, we want to help partner with you to look at that business from inside out of where the gaps may be to help drive toward that next level of success. I know a lot of people focus on volume, and that's the only focus. And although volume is extremely important, we also want to look at what's your actual business structure. You know, if you think about the analogy of building a house, if you start building a house and you don't really have a true structure, you may some point get some form of that house, but after so long, that structure is going to crack because you didn't really truly build a foundation. So we want to take a step back, help you build the foundation to success, which is kind of looking at, you know, what your mission statement is. Like, what is it that you want to be known for in the industry that sets you apart from other service bureaus or resellers? I think that's really important. We live in a very commoditized industry. So I think, you know, in order to scale and grow, you have to truly figure out where your niche is and where you thrive so that you can attract those individuals to your specific business. I do also see someone else put in a comment and they put, let's see, service bureaus come in to help you with everything, all your needs. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely agree with that. We're here to kind of help you assist to help, you know, with anything that you need in managing that business. So again, we help you to create the mission statement. We also want to help you create what your vision statement is. Like, what is your vision? Not just for year one, because I think a lot of people, they get into it and they have super advantageous plans of what they plan to do in year one. And sometimes those plans are realistic, sometimes they are not as realistic. So we want to help you look at it and use past experiences that we've seen within our industry of, you know, what success looks like versus what some challenges may be. So we help you create that vision for year 1, 3, 5, etc., because we want you to have sustainability. I think that's one of the biggest things. If you look at research, most businesses go out of business within that first year. So we want to get you beyond that first year hump to make sure we have sustainable success and growth within your business. And that again comes with looking at how we can help you to scale out that blueprint. For each and every office, it should be different. It's not a rinse and repeat approach. It kind of takes for us to truly just get to know you, get to know, you know, what it is that you're trying to do and how you're really trying to set your footprint in the market. And within that information, we help you scale that business out. We also look at creating a winning team. So the winning team is important. You know, this is one thing I love about taxes is this is probably one of the only industries you can come in, start it, do it hands-on, and then also have the opportunity to train and scale others to do that exact same thing with being a reseller of it with very little financial cost commitment. So that's one of the things that I love. You don't find a lot of, I think of it like a franchise model. Generally, it's hard to find a franchise that you can start for, you know, very small liquid assets. With our model, you can easily start with little to no liquid assets, and that's going to help you generate additional revenue, attract new customers, and hopefully grow and scale that business beyond year one. So we create the winning team for you, and we also create our sales goals and targets. So one of the biggest things about working with us is, again, we're not successful unless you're successful. So we really help you to figure out what that plan is to success so that you can grow and scale the business a bit more. So within that process, what it looks like when you come on board. So working with Wolters Kluwer, again, we give you the keys to be successful so that you can feel like you're always in the driver's seat. You're always branded as that tax professional, and you're always set to be when you have to be right, thinking about our slogan. So within that, we want to equip you to be able to manage your business versus running your business. Oftentimes in the tax industry, we run full throttle. We don't take a lot of breaks. We're just literally going from task to task to task. Again, with us, we want to help you scale back, give you some tools and efficiencies to automate the process so that you get back more time to do what it is that you love, which is actually revenue generating things. So within our process, once we bring you on, again, I'm the sales manager, so I have a team of people who work with me. We scout you, we bring you on, we get you started with onboarding. Within that onboarding, we give you a team, we call it our premier team. And that premier team works with you to kind of help you with onboarding and training. Again, I think Jasmine and Lakeisha mentioned it. You have to have training when you're starting because we don't want you to get a software and you don't know how to use it, you don't know where to start, and then you have a very unsuccessful tax season. We want to give you those tools so that you can be successful. So we bring you on with our premier team, and what they do is they work with you to partner in training. They work with you to partner in, being able to have technical support, and they truly cultivate a relationship that's like a family. So that's one of the beautiful things about us. With our premier team, I think together they have like probably over 100 years of experience, and that's just because each of them have at least 15 years. So that's one of the things that really sets us apart. So I want to have Miguel Avina kind of come in and just kind of share what that experience looks like firsthand with working with our service bureau partners.
Thank you, Ashley. Hey, this is Miguel
Absolutely.
Avina. I see the names, I see the faces. I know a lot of you guys. I know I've met a lot of you guys in person. Again, Miguel Avina with Wolters Kluwer TaxWise. I've actually been working with the company for 20 years. I started in customer support. A few months later, moved to tech support, stayed there for a couple of years, and then finally made my way to the premier department where I handle service bureaus. So if you guys, I know a lot of you guys are service bureaus. I actually have some accounts that I manage logged into this meeting right now. And if you're interested and you get in touch with Ashley, then I could possibly manage your account as well. It's really interesting what I do because I really get to know everybody, and because we have a small number of clients. So we have a small number of clients and you're literally in touch with me every day. I have clients right here right now that we've already talked like once or twice already today. So with that, you start building a bond, and it's not just, a number or just another client. It's someone that I get to know, and I get to learn about your family. I get to learn about, all the things in your life, and it really does become more of a family thing than just a business. And that's something really unique about my department and what I do here is my team is like 9 plus our manager is 10. So it's a small group, but we handle a lot of clients, but because you're calling me every day, we're going to really be in touch, and it's not just going to be, I'm having this issue or I need your help on this or that. It really is a family style type of thing. And like I said, I really enjoy that part of my job. I've gone to clients' birthday parties. Mauricio's on here along with Alicia. Hello. And, I've been to their house. I've been to their birthday parties. It's really a unique job that I have, and I thoroughly enjoy it. So that's really interesting in what I do. It's not just, calling people that you don't know and trying to get a yes. It's really making sure that you're successful. Anytime I get a new client, I always tell them like your success is directly tied to my success. So I always want my clients to succeed. I always want them to know everything that I know and more, because it makes my job easier. So when you do come on through Wolters Kluwer and you have someone like me, like Ashley said, the person that has the least tenure in my team, in my department, is actually my boss that I report to, Ian Willison. We always tease him about that. All of us have either been here 15 years or plus. I think we've got Tanya, who is the most tenured person on our team. She's over 25 years. I can't keep track, but it's a long time. So with that comes, we know a lot of, we know just about everybody in the industry. We know people in the banks. We know anyone that you need to get in touch with that will assist you in growing your business, helping you find better processes, helping you find better ways to just make more money, or just give better service. I will find you that person, and I will make sure that you're in touch with them and that they help you do what you need to do. That's a big thing that I do. You'll see me out in a lot of different forums. I'll be a Latino. If you need to get in touch with somebody, I either know someone from that company, or I'll find, the adequate person for what you need. That's a big thing. Client stories. I want to talk about my clients here for a minute, because I really have. Mauricio, like I said, been to his house, been not just work. I have one story that I'd like to share with you guys of a client who was one of my first clients that I got when I first started with Premier. He became a mentor, and I felt like he taught me more than I could, ever teach him, because he had been in the industry for so long. Unfortunately, after I think like 7-8 years of working with him, he passed away. But I had been to his house. I had helped him just daily with so many things. And unfortunately, when he passed away, the wife took over the business, and I took a lot of time in teaching her everything that she needed to know to run the business efficiently. Because another thing that I have is I get to see how other offices and other service bureaus run their business. I get to see what works and what doesn't. And so when you're handed off to me, I can give you some of that advice. I saw that this type of marketing works better with these type of people, or, the way they structure their fees might be something that you might be interested in looking at and maybe applying to your service bureau. And all that information, sometimes it's hard to, you have to fail a couple of times before you figure out what works. But with me and my team, we can say, look, we have, 20 accounts, and this is what we're seeing that works. This is what we're seeing that happens. So that's really unique, and that's the type of help that I can give you once, Ashley and her team hands you over to me. As soon as Ashley hands you over, you're going to have the people that hand you over, so Ashley's team, and then you're going to have my team, and we work hand in hand to make sure that your success, is met. Again, my success and my success is always going to be directly tied to yours. So that's always going to be important, and I'm always going to be on your side advocating for whatever you need and making sure that you're successful and that you have all the right tools and everything that you need. Part of that, I think Ashley really went into a lot of detail on it, is the software, the tools that we have. We've been one of the people that came into to our company a couple of years ago. I'm really proud of, and unfortunately he's retired, but his successor was trained by him as well, and they worked at different companies. And I think these type of people are the ones that listen. They really listen. We travel to different clients' offices. I remember seeing them take so many notes, just furiously writing notes, because they're listening to what our clients and what our service bureaus need. And then they go back to our product managers, and I've seen them change the roadmap, because we went to several people's offices and they were told, like, hey, this is great, but this could be better. Or, you know what, these changes that you guys made, we do not like them. It didn't benefit us. And we heard it from multiple offices. And then they went back and they said, guys, this isn't working. We have to make this right. And so we work closely with our service bureaus and with all of our clients, and change the roadmap to make sure that it worked correctly. And what that caused is, I've got offices that went from 30, or I got service bureaus that went from 30 sub offices to 300 in over 4 years. Why? It's because we listened to our clients, We found out that certain things weren't working the way that we thought they would be. We changed it, and it helped them grow. That's really important, because a lot of softwares, a lot of companies I always joke, like, they feel like they're Apple. They want to tell you what you need and how you need to use it. But in reality, our industry changes so much that we really have to listen to you guys as a service bureau, as a customer, and really adapt to your needs instead of you trying to adapt to what we give you. And I think that's something that WK and TaxWise has been really good at here lately. And I'm really proud of that. You know, being here 20 years, I've seen certain things that I didn't agree with. And right now, with the right people that we have on board, I really am proud of seeing that the changes are coming quick, and we're listening to the clients. We're doing right by them, and we're making sure that you guys have the right tools. TaxWise Mobile was a big thing during COVID. COVID changed so much, right? So much. And I remember we already had something called TaxWise Mobile, where it was a remote tool. And then when different states got shut down, we made a few changes to mobile, pushed it out. It was a great success to a lot of people. And then once we got out of COVID, we kind of changed a little bit more so that you can use it, like Jasmine Dab said earlier, and other people on the panel. You know, there's a younger people, they want to be remote. They don't want to have to go into the office. And then you have another crowd that wants to be face to face. We're going to be able to work with you no matter what those needs are. You have different clients that are going to just have to have that face-to-face interaction. They want to shake your hand. They want to have that printed piece of paper. And then you have some that feel like, you know what, maybe their scheduling doesn't work because they work nights, and they get out before you know, after you close. And we'll make sure that all the tools that you need to meet each client is gonna be there for you. Ashley, am I missing anything? I feel like I've just been talking and.
No, I think you said it pretty well, Miguel. I think one of the biggest things Miguel has been great with is the relationship he's built with his customers. I believe in passionate people. I love doing business with passionate people as a consumer. And, you know, Miguel sharing his stories is always something that attracted me very early on when I started the company. And he just shared the relationship that he has with his customers. It's really something you don't see in a lot of businesses or industries. And I think that not just Miguel, that entire team that Ian manages, they each take such unique care, and they truly look at you guys as their family. You know, they want to see you succeed, they want to see you grow, and they also want to be a part of those personal milestones. So I think, you know, working with us, you get so much value that you don't find in a lot of industries, because we really want to take that unique approach in just helping you to scale and grow your business. And also managing you through the life challenges of ups and downs, you know, and different hurdles. Miguel was sharing with me about, you know, how he's worked with, you know, businesses that separated, and the business was thinking that they were going to have to dissolve. And, you know, he partnered with them to just really recognize how he could help them to still maintain the business despite losing the partnership that they previously had. And I think, you know, that's something you want to see. You want to have that partnership. And sometimes it is helpful to have someone from the outside kind of look into your business just to help see things that you may not directly see in your line of sight. So again, I'm very thankful to have such a strong team that we work with and partner with that truly believes in seeing the success of their businesses. And I know one of the things that we did mention a lot was the blueprint, and want to be able to offer you guys access to that blueprint. So I'm going to drop a message in the chat for any of you who want access to, you know, look at your business from the inside out to help you scale and grow. We're willing to have those conversations with you. So please feel free to send us a direct message. I'll also share our contact information with you guys, just in case there's any questions that you maybe have that you were not able to ask during this presentation. So
yeah, absolutely. Feel free to reach out to us. We've got our email and phone number. And just to add before we finish up, you can't help with our team because we're such a small team and we handle small amounts of clients. You cannot help but to get close to everybody and really feel like you're rooting for them all the way. I don't feel like this is a 9 to 5. You can't help but to feel that way. So we're always cheering for you guys and your success. I hope to get some new clients that are on here and help you guys grow as well. And our
Awesome. Thank you
contact
so much.
information is on the screen. So make sure you guys, if you guys want to jot it down or take a screenshot of it, a picture on your cell phone, reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to help you guys grow in your service bureaus as a service bureau. Big or small, we can help you. We can help you guys out. We have everything that you guys need. And thank you guys for your time. Ngozi, thank you so much for setting this up for us and allowing us to participate as well.
Yeah, thanks, Miguel. Thanks, Ashley, for that great presentation. Like Ashley said, Miguel's perspective really helps, and that's, I think, a big benefit of being part of this community is just learning from each other. Everybody has unique experiences, and those experiences are great learning points, and everybody's willing to share. That's what's kind of cool. You know, some people say, oh, service bureau directors or service bureau, they don't want to share their secrets, but it looks like everybody's willing to kind of give some tidbits and some info, because I think people know, like, if you share, it's a good way to get business, right? So if you're up here and you're sharing your information, your knowledge, people could follow you and then sign up. So awesome. Again, Ashley, thank you. We'll be seeing you guys at all the events. I think you guys are going to the tax forums. You guys are going to Vegas Latino Tax Fest. And I know you'll be in San Diego at our event as well in September. So exciting to see many faces in person soon, for sure.
Absolutely. Thank
So,
you guys.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. So with that said, to continue, Javier, go ahead, Javier.
No, I said no. Thank you guys, because it's very important. Because here in Ngozi, we get a lot of questions. Our people are looking to jump into the search, but they don't know how. So this is great information that we can post on our platform and to our 13,000 members that are on there, so they can see this recording, and then people live can get this information and do that leap of faith and start their own business.
Definitely. Oh, I see questions from Roxana. This is great, guys. I forgot to say, if you have any questions, raise your hand. So go ahead, Roxana. I see you raising your hand. Pregunta? See, I'm gonna ask her to unmute. Maybe she did it on accident. So let's see if she has. So yeah, so if you do have any questions, you can raise your little hand like she just did, or on the chat. We could definitely answer, but I don't think she's answering, so maybe she's not able to turn on her mic. So we'll come back to Roxana in a bit, no worries. Up next on the agenda, we have a great friend and colleague that is always active. I like seeing Ernest at the tax forum because he stays till Thursday. And he doesn't stay to have an extra drink and to hang out. He stays to work. And he's out there hustling. And so being able to be there in person is awesome. Oh, I think you're sharing your screen, Javier, on accident. Is that you?
Oh,
Let's see. If somebody's sharing the screen.
He's gonna put my PowerPoint.
Oh, he is. Okay, never mind. Perfect. Go ahead. Yes. So with that said, let me introduce Ernest. For the people that showed up a little late, Ernest, tell us about your time being part of a service bureau and what you learned back in the day.
Yeah, well, thank you. First of all, Tony, Javier, and the rest of the Ngozi team, thank you for allowing us to present, our product and services. We really do appreciate it. I like to say that I'm a little unique in that I started on the other side. I started as a preparer, as a service bureau, way back in 1993. And I stayed with that company till 2008. And then we were acquired. And then I went to the service bureau side with one of my clients. And we did a whole bunch of bank products, 2009, 2010. And then I left that to come on board with TaxSlayer in 2010. So I just, as I mentioned earlier, just completed my 15 years in March with TaxSlayer. And there's a lot of changes in this business. It's got to be in your blood because you put up with so much crap, whether it's from the IRS or any other outside, impact. I like to say you hate it when it's here, but you miss it when it's not. So you're always looking forward to the next season, always looking forward to, okay, what can we do better next year? What can we present? What can we improve upon, whether it's in our service or in our product line? And hopefully it's in both. Okay. So what I wanted to do, my goal here was just to kind of give an explanation of what TaxSlayer offers to both the independent as well as the service bureau. Not going to do a tax return. That's for another day. I do Zoom training demos on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. If anybody's interested, shoot me an email. I'll shoot you an invite. But that being said, let me put my old man glasses on.
That's weird. There's lots of focus dots here.
Yeah, when you share it, it's black, Javier, by the way.
I've got it if you want me to share it from my side.
Oh yeah, go ahead and share it, Ernest, because that way you can control the slides.
Yeah, okay. So let me go ahead and share it from my end.
Yeah, I see Will has joined. Hey Will, what's up? Saludos. Cool.
Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
great. So what I'd like to start with is TaxStar pride ourselves in providing the best tax features to EROs that are looking to grow their practice. And I don't say business, I say practice, because in reality, what you're creating is a practice, just like any doctor, just like any attorney. You know, you're creating a practice so that your next generation, maybe it's family, maybe it's your partnerships, will continue that and be proud of it, not look down on, oh, I do taxes. You know, this is a very highly respected industry. And I'm sure that every ERO is happy to be in this industry. So let's give it what it's worth. I call it a practice rather than a business. Anyway, I'm going to highlight several features during the presentation as to how to improve the growth and participation, or the take rate, to increase your revenue stream. So we at TaxSlayer, we realize there's many taxpayers who still are unaware of the benefits of the bank product, the RT. Okay, we see that in our reports. Bank products fluctuate, RTs as well are fluctuating. Hey, you got to increase more EROs to increase the BP volume, but yet the e-file volume grows year after year. So we work with TPG, Refund Advantage, EPS, and Refundo to encourage more value out of what you offer your taxpayer through the RT and, of course, the early advances, and get them involved in it so that they take advantage of that and pay you a little bit more money as the ERO. Okay. Now, I don't know if anybody else has heard this rumor, but we've heard that maybe in the near future, Treasury Department is no longer going to issue checks. Okay. So if that happens, not everybody can or wants to go out and get a direct deposit account. So guess what? Here comes the RT to fill that void. So this is, if and when that day comes, you will be prepared to say, hey, I've got the solution. Don't you worry about it. Okay. In addition, you talk to people, and these banks will tell you, when you have clients that just want e-file, and you're trying to promote RTs, you can use the argument, hey, have you ever heard of somebody losing or having their treasury check stolen from their apartment mailbox, right? How's theft during that time? It's through the roof. People stealing mail from the apartment mailboxes, because guess what they're looking for? Social Security checks, IRS refund checks. What's the difficulty in replacing that check, the time involved in replacing that check versus an RT check that the bank just gives you the new check file to reprint it? So there are definite advantages to the RT. But again, please talk to the bank partners that are represented here. And if you're not offering RTs, you really should start looking at it. If you are offering RTs, you should start encouraging it. Don't leave it up to your taxpayer to decide whether they want it or not. The successful EROs with high volume bank products encourage, almost demand, that their taxpayers get their refund via an RT. Okay, so let's look at what we offer. TaxSlayer Pro Web software features. Before I get that, let me first clear this real quick. Our costs. Everybody wants to know, hey, what do you charge? What do you charge? Well, let me tell you what we don't charge. We do not charge for e-file. So you got a zero e-file fee for current and prior year. Other software vendors may be charging you for that. We don't charge you for the corporate e-file or print of that corporate tax return. Other vendors may be charging you that. And we don't charge you for a remote signature. Other software vendors may be charging you. All you have to do is do the math, multiply it times the fee, and you'll see what stays in your pocket. So let's get that out of the way. All right, so let's get started. ProWeb, this is our online platform. what are the advantages to ProWeb? Why should I move from a desktop that I'm happy with, I've been using for years and years and years? Why should I move? Well, first of all, you can access it from anywhere at any time. I will be at all the trade shows, including Latino Fest. If I was an ERO utilizing ProWeb, client calls me, I could from anywhere log in to my program, look up what they need, and resolve that issue within minutes, rather than saying, hey, you know what, I'm out of town, I'll be back in the office on Monday. Okay, they don't want to hear that. They want immediate resolution. You have a secure login that is required for all of your preparers with a multi-factor authentication. So what that means is, yes, you'll put your username, yes, you'll put your password, but then we'll send you to either your email or your cell phone a code that you have to input in order to proceed. Okay. What are the advantages over a traditional desktop? Well, number one, there's no install. You don't have to worry about install or reinstall. Number two, there's no networking. You don't need your IT guy to come in and network your 3 or 6 or 8 or 10 computers. There's no updates. You're always working with the latest and the greatest. There's no data crash, no lost files, no computer issues. What that means is if the computer goes down that you're working on, you simply move to the next computer. No downtime. How expensive is downtime? How much money does that cost you when you're waiting for your IT guy who has a full-time job to come over to your place after 5 o'clock and rework the network? So those issues are eliminated completely. So there's a definite advantage to doing an online product. Looking at the specific ProWeb features real quickly, let's touch on these. We have a sidebar. So what's a quick calculator? How many folks get the call, hey, can you give me an estimate? Me puedo un estimado, right? We know that the taxpayer is just shopping it around, trying to get or confirm that their TurboTax calculation is actually right. In my experience, when I do my presentations, 80% of the people attending do not provide quick estimates. Why? Because they have to almost do a full-blown tax return to get to that end result. With ours, within 30 seconds, you can provide an estimate. More importantly, that takes the cold lead to a warm prospect. That warm prospect is then advised to go to my website, my Facebook, my marketing, anything, and look at the link for my mobile app, which we'll talk about in a bit. Utilizing the mobile app, they can submit their data remotely, virtually, with encryption, so it's within IRS guidelines. Send me their data so that I can create the return, send it back to them for completion. So we're keeping them from, we're trying to stop the bleeding of going to TurboTax. We don't want them. I call these folks los chiflados. They don't want to come into the office. They want to do it from home. So let's appeal to that. And if every tax return in your office on average is worth 150 or more, guess what? You're increasing the opportunity to gain a customer by just giving them a dang estimate and take it from there. The second half of that, like I mentioned, was the mobile app. Now, your mobile app tool will actually have your name and your logo and a unique link. So if you have multiple locations, multiple EFINs, each EFIN will have its own queue URL so that that client that got it from that office will be sending their data only to that office. There's no confusion. So when they send that information, they send it to your office. We're not giving them an estimate. We're not giving them anything. They're basically just sending their information. At the end of the return, we send the completed bank docs on their phone so that they can sign it. A virtual experience. Now, the other benefit of this was mentioned, okay, who's our target market? Of course, the younger generation. Old folks aren't going to do it. But there's areas of the country that have bad weather during the tax season, mostly the Northeast. So if you have a bad storm and your client can't make it to your office, guess what? They can use your mobile app. I have a client in San Antonio. I'm in Houston. In San Antonio that's been with me. This is her 3rd season with me. She's doing over 400 mobile app returns. She loves it. She says, Ernest, my girls love it because it reduces the flow of people in my office, the traffic, the people sneezing, coughing, wiping their nose. She says, we love this feature. You get them on 1 year, they're on for life. They're not going to go to anybody else who does not have a mobile app feature. Scanning documents. This is an attempt to go paperless. So rather than making copies and filing those copies in filing cabinets and hoping that they don't get misfiled, scanning the documents after the fact when you create the return, you simply just drag and drop, and now it's there with the tax return. If you need to print it, you go in there, you print the tax return, supporting docs if need be. But this is a quick way to go paperless and then save you efficiency and resources of paper, toner, and filing. Email return. I've been in offices who tell me, oh, well, we just tell them to either fax their data into me or send me an email. And I asked, do you use encryption? No, they just email it to us. I said, well, you know, that's against IRS regs. You cannot send that tax return back to them without encryption. So within our program, you can email the return back to them with encryption, create a password. I tell everybody use the same password so you don't have to think about it. And then they get used to receiving that. Again, target market, the younger generation, older folks, they want a souvenir when they walk out of the office. They want that tax return printed. But the younger folks, they're still on the other side of your desk as you're preparing the return. Once you finish, you email it to them. They open it up on their phone and they're happy. They're like, man, this is all I need. Thank you very much. So again, limits the resource of paper and toner. You can imagine a federal return, a state return, and a bank application that every time you don't print it, you're saving money on those resources. Review and return. Has anybody ever had a return that was kind of lost in the crack and it was sitting on somebody's desk in a corner waiting on the taxpayer to come back? Taxpayer calls 3 days later and say, what's the status? I said, well, you said you weren't not to send it because you were going to bring another W-2. Well, I called and left a message and I told them I didn't have another W-2. That issue can be eliminated by simply placing a return in a queue that is just for reviews. People that have some issue, I need my spouse to come in and sign. I need another W-2. I need expenses that I'm going to bring back. What you're doing is you're putting it there, and your office manager, for example, can review that daily, and it's a date and a timestamp, and they can say, what's going on with this one? Oh, I forgot. Let me call them, be proactive about it. So now you're not going to have those issues of 3 days later and not being aware. In fact, when you put it in that queue, that font turns from black to green to show that something is in existence there. These are options. These next couple of slides I'm going to show you. These are basically just options that you can use your imagination and create tools for you. So for example, when I do my Zoom sessions, I talk about question templates. I said, look, how would you like to create your own internal questions that either your preparers or your taxpayers have to answer so that you can proceed? So I create a few. I'd say, did you ask for a referral? Okay. I create some for, did you ask the right questions? Did you scan all copies? You know, something related to due diligence, for example. If I'm a multi-service office, hey, are you a client of mine? No. Would you like a quote? Yes. So I can resell to that same or cross-sell to that same customer multiple times and increase my revenue stream. Creating a tag. Again, this is an option. What I do in my example is I say, look, let's take a couple of scenarios. How'd you hear about me? And break it down. So I can say radio ad, and I use one that says flyer ad. I use one that says the quick estimator. They called and they liked it. I use one that says a referral. So what you're doing is you're marking what works. Let's say, for example, I pay for radio ads and I pay for flyers. And at the end of the season, I have a ton more of flyers than I do of radio ads. Well, the following year, why am I going to invest any money on radio? I thought that was the greatest thing for exposure, but it's not. It's the local community that's coming to me. So I'll drop the radio and focus more on the flyers. These can be reviewed by reports. Taxpayer profiles. I love this one. So if you're like, I'm talking as an ERO, if you're like most EROs, you have types of clients that come to your office. You have your W-2, what I call quick and dirty. All they have is a W-2. It's a 1048. You have your Schedule C self-employed. You may have some retirees. And in each of those categories, obviously, there's different types of forms that come in that. So you can categorize the form to the category that you create so that by default, those forms auto-populate to be completed. Now, obviously, if W-2 also has unemployment, you just go and add the unemployment form or the interest or whatever, but you're keeping the template the same so that your, let's say a beginning preparer will only work on the W-2 quick and dirty returns because all they have is a W-2. So you can definitely take shortcuts in the process by pre-selecting forms for a certain category. Transmissions. How many times have you seen someone transmit a return prematurely before it's gone through all the checks and balances? Now, within our program, you have the option of allowing each preparer to transmit a return as soon as they finish it, or hold it to the transmission table and transmit it throughout the day. That's my preference. Because a return is done, client goes home, and lo and behold, they find another W-2. They call your office and say, hey, wait a minute, I got another W-2. I'll be right there. Oh, I've already sent it. Now we got to wait for a rejection or file an amended return. So this takes place of that possibly happening by saying we're going to do batch transmissions throughout the day to make sure that everybody's ready when we do send the file. And it also can eliminate those people, those preparers that you do not want to have access for transmitting returns to the IRS. Check printing. Now, there is a process by which Treasury Department sends the check file to the bank partner, who then filters it through their bank, through their software vendors, who then the vendors filter it through their thousands of EFINs, and then you, the ERO, get the check file. Okay, that takes a little while. Now, God forbid the client taxpayer comes back the next day and says, hey, you know what, I can't find it or it's damaged, can you reprint it? Now the ERO has to send the check file request back to the vendor has to send it back to the bank has to then approve it, send it back to the vendor has to then send it back to the ERO. We've removed ourselves from that process. So in our process, when you click on print checks, you're going straight to the portal of your participating bank partner. You log in, you print the check, or you reprint the check. It improves the efficiency, shaves time tremendously, takes hours off of that, and now you have a happy client. Now, everybody that signs on with us has an account in what we call the account hub. It's basically your online registration. So let's review that really, really quick. In the account hub is where you set up what we call the additional transmission fee or additional withholding amount. This allows the EFIN or master EFIN in service bureau cases to select additional withholding amounts to a maximum of $350. Okay, so you have 3 different tiers. You can choose any of those tiers that you wish. And what happens is the bank then removes that much more from the taxpayer's refund and provides it to us on your behalf, and then we true it up. And actually, it's this time every year, mid to late May, and process those deposits and issue them by no later than mid-June. Okay, so you'll have the money when you need the money for the rest of the summer. I know some places it's probably late July by the time you get your money. Ours is a little bit earlier. So we want to give you the ability to have additional money withdrawn from the client's tax refund, and it's not put in their prep fee. It's not in your prep fee. You do not have to argue with them about why your fee went up. We're the bad guy. It'll show up in a different fee bucket that says software transmitter. So we're the bad guy. Say, look, this is what I got to pay my dang transmitter. And them not knowing that it's actually part us, part you. Service bureaus. Let's talk a little bit about service bureaus. And what I want to focus on is basically the admin level. This is the control level. This is the cloud where you are creating all the offices for your sub sites and have all the control to where you can see every return in those offices, and you can actually go into an office if they need help with anything and be the support team that you are promised to be. Custom brand. Everybody wants their own brand of software. So in the custom branded page, you'll be able to have them create their own brand. Now, you as a service bureau are going to have yours, but by growing your business, you basically want to look for sub-master EFINs and thereby grow your practice from a retail to a wholesale. Let my subs grow the business. Let them grow the practice, because that's how I'm going to grow. So you have you target those that are very successful, and you encourage them to grow. I know that everybody here, all the service bureaus do that, and this is a great way to grow your practice by letting those grow underneath you. Create and manage all your offices from the account hub. So you're able to create, run their bank applications, run their custom mobile app configurations, and all of that can be done through. And then in the software, you can lock that data so you have total autonomy. Somebody doesn't pay you, guess what? You turn off their e-file privileges and you'll get a phone call probably in about the next 10 minutes. All right, so you'll be able to manage completely from that cloud site, from that admin site, all of your, whether it's 5 offices or 500 offices, you'll be able to manage all of those locations with very, very minimal resource. Sidebar links, all we're saying is when you're a service bureau, you can create what links you want to have in the software to promote your practice. If you are an insurance agency, put your insurance link there. If you're working with the bank partners, put your bank partners link there. If you're working with, if you want to stay in good touch with the IRS, put IRS links there for resources. So all of these things can be customized into what will be the home screen of the software when your subsites open up the program. Now, as I mentioned, I'll be at Latino Fest and all the IRS upcoming trade shows. Here's my cell phone. I give my personal cell phone to everybody, 7 days a week. Everybody apologizing when they call me on a weekend. I said, there's no apology. That's what I'm here for. I make my money when you make your money. So I want you to make as much money as possible. That keeps me and my wife happy, right? So I'm available 7 days a week. My email is available 7 days a week. However, next week I'm going on vacation. I'm going to take a little time off. But if you want to email me, you want to schedule a Zoom session on a Tuesday at 11 Central, I'll be more than happy to do that as of the 27th. But thank you for your time. Feel free to call me if you have any questions whatsoever. And I do look forward to working with you and seeing you at the shows.
Awesome, Ernest. Thank you for that thorough presentation. And I love how you designed it for service bureaus. I see some questions coming in here also because it looks like it was very, very powerful. Elizabeth Salinas, I don't know if you answered this already. Did you answer about most clients, most young clients are paperless? Does TaxClear offer a superseded? Did you see that, Ernest?
No, I did not. I did not.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. So I think she just mentioned that most younger clients are paperless. So
That new generation that's coming in, and again, I call them the chiflados. You know, they don't want to travel, they want to stay at home, and they definitely don't want paperwork. Everything's electronic nowadays.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for that info. Everybody saying gracias, gracias, thanks. Ernest will be here if you still have any more questions, and we'll be seeing you, I'm assuming, Ernest, at the tax forums, right?
Yes, yeah, I'll be at all of them. I love to attend. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know for sure. Negozis, we're going to Orlando Tax Forum
In San Diego.
as a group. Yeah, in San Diego, we'll be there that week as well. Yeah, and much more. But cool, good stuff. Well, thank you, Ernest. We'll connect you with people that want to follow up with you, and we'll continue with the presentation today. Have you had anything to add before the next presenter?
No, I just want to thank Ernest for his time and joining us today.
Awesome, perfect. Thank you so much. So looking at the agenda here, a few more. I know we try not to make these too long. It's just that there's so many great speakers, so we're trying to squeeze them in. So up next, to go over all the great updates and product features of Crosslink. Crosslink has a great tech stack. We have here from Crosslink, I believe it's Sabrina. Let me see. Oh, Gilbert, of course. I saw Sabrina, I saw Gilbert. Hola. How's it going, guys? Thank you. You guys did a great presentation last time during this virtual webinar. And it was great seeing you guys also in Houston. That was awesome as well. So thanks for being a part of Negozi again this year. They're like, you know what? Let me hang out with Negozi again, see what happens, see if we get some business. And that's what it's all about, right? We want our members to discover different softwares, whether it's TaxSlayer, whether it's CrossLink, My Tax Prep Office, and whatever's best for you, obviously give them a call. But today's presentation with CrossLink, we see here, empowering your service bureau with CrossLink. We're gonna have, we're also recording this, guys. So those that are getting here late or left early, we're gonna be able to share that with them. But with that said, Gilbert, Sabrina, comenzamos. Let's get started. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And as you said, it's really great to be here again with Ngozi. Hello to everybody in attendance. For those of you that don't know me, maybe this is your first Ngozi meeting. My name is Gilbert. I work with the CrossLink training department with CrossLink software. I've been with the company for about over 15 years at this point. And my role typically with the business is to help onboard customers into our software. Whether it's a brand new single office joining and starting their tax business and wanting to use CrossLink, I help them through that entire process, or me and our team helps them through that entire process. Or perhaps someone transitioning from a prior software to CrossLink, we work on that all the time. And also very popular, single offices expanding to multi-offices and multi-offices expanding to service bureaus, something that happens. That's what we want to see, that growth of your business. So if you're a service bureau, there are some needs that you typically are going to have when you're a service bureau. And as an example of some needs that you need when you become a service bureau is your ability to manage multiple tax offices. And not only manage multiple offices, but manage them efficiently. Because this becomes a problem the more you grow and the more you expand your business, the more offices have to be set up every season, right? Not only new offices that you're establishing, but returning offices that need their software, that need the program configuration, new users, new logins, fees, help with fees or billing. All that can be done with the help of our software. And we're gonna take a look at those details here in a bit. But let's just review some of these other things to keep in mind as you grow into a service bureau, what you should expect from your software and your software provider. Along with being able to manage your multiple offices, let's get real, right? Maximizing revenue potential. That's one of the most important things as a service bureau, being able to earn and keep as much money and revenue as you can. So we'll quickly touch upon that. Other things to keep in mind, the simplification of tax preparation, very important for your offices. If there's a brand new preparer that's joining the team, being able to work with a simple, straightforward program that doesn't take too much time to learn is going to be all the best when it comes to your tax business. As we know, the less time you focus on preparing a return, the less time your preparers have to spend on working on an individual return. That's more time for more customers, more returns, more revenue. So very important to keep a simple tax software in mind when it comes to your service bureau and offering services to your offices. And then finally, some cool technology that makes life easier when preparing returns, when dealing with customers, just even the experience that you have when dealing with the software or the experience that the customer may have with you and their office. If it's a positive experience with interesting technology that makes life easier, it makes sense that the customer would return again for next year to have their returns prepared because it was just a straight and easy way to prepare their tax returns. So that's exactly what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover our multi-office management tools in CrossLink. We're going to take a quick look at the revenue potential that you have with us and wrapping things up with some cool technology and tools that you can use with our software that's completely integrated into the program. All right. So let's start off with that first one, multi-office management. What is multi-office management? To help explain this, what I'll do is I'll show you these three icons on screen here that represent your main office all the way to the left. This is like the top of the service bureau, the head office. Tax office, that's a sub office, let's say, a sub office being served by the service bureau. And then finally, all the way to the right, the IRS or the state, the final destination of the tax return, hopefully. That's where all the returns need to go. So what can we do with multi-office management? The way you deal or the exact steps to work with multi-office management varies by what software you're using. So if you're using desktop or online or hosted, the steps are a little bit different. So we're not really going to cover the steps, but more the benefits or the things that you can do, like the types of actions you can do with multi-office management. And the first thing, very important for service bureaus, is the ability to configure your program software remotely, especially for desktop users, for folks that are focused on the desktop program. That typically involves, when you think of the desktop program, that involves downloading the program every season. If it's a new customer, making sure that their software is configured with all the basic information, their EFIN, name, PTINs, all that stuff. And then if they're a returning customer, making sure that that information from the prior year transfers forward to the following year, or even making some adjustments for the new season if you need to make any changes to the billing and stuff like that. Having the ability for you to go into our portal is what we call it, and manage that all those settings, whether it's specific program settings, like even things like printing are things that you can configure remotely and affect your sub offices. But then more important things like fee structures, how much they're charging for tax preparation, how much they're charging for bank products or additional fees associated with the bank products. All that can be configured remotely so that it transfers over into the desktop software. So they're receiving all this data that you've configured remotely. And along with that, the third option I have here displayed is users. Different logins, different preparers that are working in the software. All that could be managed and configured remotely as well. And I say can because it is not required, so to speak. Some service bureaus, what they do is they keep things very simple. They just set up the basics. Here's your user ID, like a number for the program. Here's some basic general information about the office, but you take care of the rest. The office takes care of their own detailed setup, their own tax preparation fees, their own users, But you have the power to do this and to offer this ability, to be able to start them off with a billing schedule or price list, to be able to start them off with their information that they need to go, with the ultimate goal being that they get their software and they're ready to start preparing returns. No, or at least as minimal as amount of time possible needed to setting up the software. That's, we're trying to reduce that so we can focus on tax return preparation. So configuring tax program settings remotely, very important. But along with that, there's control as to how returns are moved around between office and office. As an example, one of the things you can do is you can have one of the sub offices transmit the returns to the main office for review. So instead of having this sub office transmit returns directly to the IRS, they're transmitting returns to the main office. And then the main office is sending the return over to the IRS. So they have ultimate control of those tax returns being sent over to the IRS. This type of configuration can be very, very common when you have a sub office that doesn't have an EFIN. Like they don't have their own EFIN. The EFIN is what allows them to transmit directly to the IRS. So what they can do is you can use a primary EFIN, have a sub office kind of use that EFIN that's associated with another office, but they're just preparing returns. It's like this feeder office is what we call it, a feeder program that's transmitting returns over to the main, so that the main office can send all returns over to the IRS or the state. With this, I would say is more common with our desktop users when it comes to moving returns from desktop program to desktop program. With online software, things becomes more simple and straightforward because you're all accessing the same software. With desktop, every office, sometimes even unique preparers can have their own program tied to them. And that's why, they may have their program, but they don't have their EFIN yet. So they may need to feed returns to a main office that does have the EFIN to send over to the IRS. Now, this is just one example, right? If the office, they have their own EFIN, well, they can transmit directly to the IRS or state. And a copy, this is optional, but a copy could be sent to the main office if you want to be able to keep track of all those returns being transmitted from your different sub offices and run reports about those returns see which office is creating more returns. You basically keep track of all that productivity and workflow. You can set it up like this as well if you want. If not, some service bureaus, they don't care about receiving all this data. They just want their sub offices to be able to e-file, and you do your thing and we'll get paid behind the scenes. That's another option as well. It's all about, what you prefer as a service bureau and what you want. That's why we have all these different options available. Some other options to keep in mind, some other things you can do with this multi-office management. How about having tiered offices? This is something that our software is built for, is the ability for you to have what we call tiered offices. Basically, sub offices underneath a sub office of yours. And then the same thing applies where, the sub office can send over program settings to their little group of sub offices, to their franchise, basically. And then the way you could set up return transfers is you could, have the main office be the primary transfer to the IRS, kind of like what we saw before. Or how about just receiving copies? The tiered offices, they are the ones sending returns, and then copies just feed up to your sub office and then over to your main office. Or if everyone has their own EFINs, how about everybody just transmitting returns directly? That's another option, especially if everybody has their own EFIN. And some service bureaus, what they do is they wind up purchasing, you don't have to purchase an EFIN, it's free, but they wind up getting additional EFINs just so that they have this flexibility in mind, so that they can provide an EFIN to a tax office that may not have one, just so that they can e-file returns and e-file directly. Now, of course, when it's your EFIN, you do want to be cautious of who's using it. It's technically yours, so any liability falls under your EFIN. You have to be careful with that. But things to consider and options that are available to you. Okay. Now, just to recap, I know we got a lot of arrows here. In essence, what is multi-office management all about? It's about complete control of your sub offices when it comes to their program setup, when it comes to transmission, e-file, returns, how you want returns to transfer or move around throughout your organization. That's what multi-office management gives you, and the ability for you to manage the billing and fees, which again, it's up to you. Do you want to take control of the billing and have a price structure for your offices? You can. Or you could let it open, let them create their own, let the sub offices create their own billing so that you can focus on back end fees. And speaking of which, on the topic of fees, Crosslink offers an expansive list of revenue opportunities. From what I've heard, more than any other software available out there is all the revenue opportunities that we have. Of course, we're talking about things like integrated bank products, all the software has that. But additional things like e-file revenue per every e-file, ERO add-ons. So like the ERO or the EFIN owner can have their own fees added on. And then fees for ancillary products, for products like audit protection, iProtect, these types of services that you can sell with the software. You not only have to prepare returns, you can do other things, include additional services that you can then charge extra for. And there's other ones. There's a whole bunch of additional fees that you can add. And if you want to discuss the details, perhaps there are some of these that you use, but some others that you don't. If you want to expand your revenue for next season and are looking for additional ways on how to do that, definitely recommend speaking with your Crosslink account manager. They can create a game plan with you to configure all this. So you have an exact idea of what you're beginning when it comes to all this additional revenue for the season. Some good stuff there. But in addition to that, let's talk about some tools that you can use. If you used Crosslink before, some of these may be familiar. Other ones, they're brand new for this season, or maybe you haven't used them. I know like that last one, Tax Vision Assist. That's one that's available right now for Crosslink. A lot of people haven't used it, may not even know about it, but we'll take a look at it here. And let's start off with that taxpassapp.com. This is interesting because this is essentially an online portal. Think of it as a website where your taxpayers can go to send you data that would then be received in your program. And this works with any one of our programs, whether it's desktop, online, hosted. You can use this website. or really your taxpayers can use this website to send you data. You would then upload that data in your software. There's a button for that to pull these returns that have been sent to you from TaxPass app.com. And then you, as it says over here, the customer starts the return on the website and you finish it directly in the software. So you're retrieving all that data from them. We're talking about basic stuff like names, addresses, income, withholding, as much data as the customer can provide you. There's a essentially like a form or a sheet that they go through on this website. And when they complete it and submit it to you, you receive it in your program. Very nice, very good time saver, especially if you're trying to minimize how much data entry you're trying to do in the return, how much you have to type in. This TaxPass app is good for that because essentially the taxpayer is doing the work for you in a sense. They're completing a lot of the data that goes in the return so that you just have to wrap a few things up. You know, the completion of certain forms that a lot of the forms, they rely on that basic data like names, addresses. So hopefully it's just some basics, some figures perhaps, but just all about reducing the time needed to prepare that return. Especially nice if you can get the taxpayer helping you, right? Prepare the return and be able to process this return just faster than normal. So that's one option, all built in, available to every cross-linked user. Something else to keep in mind as you expand, as you need to offer more services to your customers, it's not just cash or bank products when it comes to taxpayers paying for their tax preparation fees. There are other options available out there, especially nowadays. If you want your customers to start paying with credit cards, debit cards, or even remotely via email, for those types of customers that Ernest was talking about that just want to stay home, if they don't necessarily want to come back to the office to take care of little things like payment, sending them a remote invoice so that they get an email with a big pay now button. Very useful, very nice to be able to get that money without, with more options, not just cash or bank products. Some businesses, depending on qualifications, you can qualify to get one of these zero touch terminals that we see on screen right now to accept those credit card payments. And like I said, also the ability to pay remotely via email. Sending them an email to have them pay is also available when partnering, with PayJunction. In addition to that, one of the most basic and I think easiest upgrades you can do to your business is the ability to remote and e-sign. There are a few models that are supported with our software, like Topaz, Scriptel. If you don't have one of those signature pads, no big deal. You can use your computer's mouse or touchscreen, and there's no cost associated with this other than the device, other than purchasing the signature pad. But those are usually not too expensive nowadays. So I imagine, I would say it's a good investment to make because it reduces the amount of time it takes to prepare a return. There's not, sitting around signing documents. That in itself takes time away, maybe even as long as the tax return preparation for simple returns. And then compliance, also important as well. If you're audited by the IRS, making sure that everything is signed, authorized is an important aspect of it. And especially like one of those technicality things, right? One of the most unfair things that when you process something to the best of your knowledge, you miss a signature and that gets you in trouble. Just a simple basic, even though everything else is filled out, we don't want to do that. So to make it simple, one signature that the taxpayer does covers all the signature fields in the return. So all the areas where they're required to field will be filled out automatically by just signing. And if the taxpayer, again, doesn't want to come into the office, there is also the remote signature option available. That does have a fee associated with it that would affect the office typically. That just affects the office that's creating the return. But that fee is also charged to the taxpayer. But keep that in mind. It's not like the office is going to be out of money. You're paying CrossLink, yes, the fee associated with this remote sign, but the taxpayer is automatically being charged this amount. So you're recovering that money. It's going to even out to zero, basically. And in addition, you could, speaking of revenue opportunities, This is another one where you can have an add-on fee associated with every remote sign. If you want to have, like, I think the max is an additional $5. So you can charge the taxpayer 10 for the remote sign functionality. That'll be charged to the tax return automatically. But Crosslink is charging you 5. So you're gaining like an extra $5 per remote sign. Just some things. That is optional as well. All this stuff is very much optional, but these are additional ways to make revenue and to make your life easier with the software. What else do we have here? We have the document archive built into our software. Some other softwares, to be able to keep track of digital documents, to store documents, they may charge you extra. With us, it's all built in. It's included in all our software, this little document archive that you see to the left of the return. And this is where all your copies, all your prepared copies especially, are automatically archived. Every PDF, every document that you print, so to speak, because if you're paperless, you're not printing, you're creating PDFs. But every PDF or print job will be stored in that document archive automatically, and all built in. And in the case of online, there's some additional tools available as well in that online software to request documents. Very nice. There's the ability to basically send the taxpayer a link so that they can drop or upload a document, and then you receive it automatically in your document archive. Very cool. And at no additional cost for any of this. And then very exciting is this one. This is interesting and brand new for this season, but if you've used or heard of Zapier, now we have connectivity with this Zapier application. What Zapier is basically a bridge between your Crosslink software and a whole bunch of different apps out there. We see some examples listed here to the right. It allows your Crosslink software to connect to the app to make some sort of like automated process. If there's ever been a time in which you've asked yourself, like, oh man, I wish the software did this automatically, especially if it involves another app. I wish if this happened, if X happened, Y would happen automatically. That's what Zapier is all about. Here's some examples of like different zaps, is what they call them, different like actions that happen within the Crosslink software. Whether a tax return payment has been processed. If that happens in the Crosslink program, Zapier can automatically send a zap to some sort of software. And I guess that's the tricky part, or not tricky, but that's the part you have to think about is like, what do I want to happen? Do I want an email to be sent out automatically to the customer? Do I want some sort of like line in the zero bookkeeping to occur? That's the creative part that, you kind of have to sit down and work and enter in, but it's all about the freedom that you have available to you when it comes to having things happen automatically, not having to do them yourselves, having this type of like automatic service. I mean, there's no, I think no other better way to describe it. And here are just some examples of things, right? Whether it's the remote signature being processed, the return being filed, the return being printed, all those are actions that happen within the Crosslink, and all those actions can have a specific zap or a specific sub action associated with them, something that happens automatically when this occurs. So very exciting, very interesting when you're trying to like automate processes, when you're trying to make things as easier for you and using, AI-driven tools. That's what this is all about. I definitely recommend speaking with your Crosslink account manager if you're interested in this. And also taking a look at their website, zapier.com. We'll provide you some additional details about that as well. And then finally, this is another tool that's available to you right now. You may not have used it with our software, but if you have Crosslink, you have this available to you. Doesn't matter what program you're using. But in the client data form, you have this little Tax Vision ISIST button available to you. That's all about importing taxpayer data from their ID. So if you have a picture of their ID, of their driver's license, and you have that picture scanned onto your computer, you can click on this button to scan that ID and autofill as many fields as we can. Things like, again, the basics, name, date of birth, addresses, as much info that's available on that ID. And there's also documents as well, of course, like W-2s. All those figures can be imported into the fields that they need to go the fields that they need to go to. All about, again, saving you time. And this is really simple to use. If you do have the product already, if you have Crosslink and you want to give this a try, all you have to do is go to the client data, click on that Vision Assist button. Once you click on that, that opens up this little window. You click on the three dots and then OK to attach it. Very cool. And to wrap things up, I should mention, the software in itself is a tool that is very flexible because you have multiple tools available to you. Whether it's 1040 or business returns, you've got you covered. There are the examples of our business return types or corporate return types listed there. Whether it's desktop, online, or hosted, which is kind of like a hybrid product. Desktop is great for those customers or those offices that don't have maybe a reliable internet, that don't have internet 100% of the day. They need to have access to the software without Wi-Fi or without internet. That's desktop is perfect for that because you have the software installed. You don't need internet to run the program. You just need internet to transmit or e-file returns. Online, on the other hand, is fully online, requires constant internet access, but it's got its benefits, like being able to access the whole program from anywhere. You're not tied down to a specific computer, right? It's wherever the program is installed. Now, with online, it's a website. So as long as you have internet, you're good. And then hosted being kind of like a mix between the two. It looks like desktop, but it has this shared platform where everybody is signing in to this desktop program remotely, basically. And then state return packages, all included. There are some states for business packages, like very minimal states that may not be available just yet, but they're either in the works or we have the large majority of all the states that you would need to process returns. So with that, I think that's all we wanted to cover today. Thanks again for all your time and attention. And please, if you have any questions about anything that we discussed today, or if you want to discuss any of this further, there's our information online as far as Sabrina's info, her phone, and her email. So please feel free to reach out. And again, if we have any questions right now, be happy to help. But I'll kick it back to you.
I also want to add that we will be at a lot of the events. So we will be at the Ngozi Fest. We will also be at Latino Tax Fest. I will personally be at Miami TaxCon, the San Diego IRS show. And as Gil mentioned, our software is super customizable. And sometimes when you're starting off, you might not know exactly what you need. That's fine. You can stop by. You can give me a call. You can shoot me an email, talk about your needs. And I will help you not only as your account manager throughout the season, but as your sales consultant, figure out what features are going to enhance your productivity in the software. So please, even if you have very simple questions, you can just call me, text me, and my email's also in the chat. But thank you for your time, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Gilbert, Sabrina. And this is awesome. I love when we bring in familiar faces, right? So you see Elizabeth Salinas saying, thank you. Because when they see you, right, in Houston or in Vegas or in Orlando, they're able to say, hey, I want to be able to kind of connect with people that I know, and it helps really kind of convey that it's not just a corporation selling something. It's, hey, it's Gilbert, Sabrina, they're here to help. And so I appreciate when you guys do make time for us. So awesome, guys. Gracias so much, Gilbert. I'll see you soon.
Absolutely.
Sabrina. And like, you're able to contact them there, like some information, so you could have any questions. But with that said, to continue here, up next, another great solution for our service bureaus that are here today. Up next, we have Juan Marines with OLT Pro. And just to kind of follow the agenda, I think we're about just 10 minutes behind. And so we have OLT next, Juan. So Crossing just finished a great presentation. And then after Juan, we have an amazing panel. People are showing up already. A panel brought to you by Santa Barbara Tax Products Group. So Eli is here already. We're going to have Alberto Lara and Mauricio Castro on that panel. And then we'll finish the day with Mike Steele from Ultimate Tax that's been here. Also paying attention. So great to have Crosslink on and the different speakers, the banks, because we do have some big service bureaus that are paying attention to everything you're saying and may be interested in either switching over or bringing you on board. But with that said, let me bring on Juan Marines with OLT Pro. Many of you know Juan. He's part of the Ngozi community. He was working with us last year. He's still working with us along the way, but now he represents OLT Pro and he has great information. He has a lot of knowledge too of the service bureau industry. So maybe you could share some of that knowledge of how service bureaus work, Juan, because I know you have a lot of good knowledge around that.
Yes, thank you, Tony. Thank you, everyone, for the great talks we've had. Theodora, Ernest, and I mean, it just every.
Oh, I think I put you on mute on accident, Juan. Sorry.
Hello.
There we
Go
go.
ahead. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Continue, sorry.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Yes. So thank you all for talking and for the presentations, because it's actually it's good for a service bureau to understand the products around him and that surround them that they do not yet work with. Like OLT Pro. OLT Pro has not been in the Spanish market yet, but it is now going to. We will also be going to many of the events that you guys are going. We'll be at the Latino Tax. We'll be at all the IRS shows. So stop by. If you have not heard of OLT Pro, it has been in the industry for about 25 years. It was the first tax software to actually just go online, completely online. And the 250 engineers that we have behind it is what makes it possible for them to be able to be a successful tax software, just like the other ones, just like Crosslink, Drake, TaxSlayer. They're all great companies, and I think as a service bureau, you need to have options. You need to have options for your EROs to be able to accommodate with their needs. As someone earlier said, you need something that's black and white, that's transparent and easy for your customers to understand and to work with. Also, something that's very unique and very competitive with everything that's going on. They also mention ages. So we have people that are still filing taxes that are 80 years old, 65 years old, and we have 18-year-old guys, 16-year-old people that are starting to file taxes too, that work very differently due to the years that they grew up in. For example, everything now is web-based. Everything wants to be done fast. You see nowadays, people love video games and they love this new tech society that has now empower our daily ways of life. And with OLT, you get that, you get all of that. It accommodates to people that are of the older age, that like the papers, that like the physical things, physical signing, and it also accommodates to people that just want a simple text message, email, and just they want to do everything from home. I think the simplicity of a tax software definitely helps, and not only that, but the ease of the master account or whoever is running the service bureau to have the simplicity to offer different products within all-in-one. It makes it a very easy easy way to sell to your EROs, to all the banks, if you include all the banks as well. I know Tony has been in this industry for so long, and he's seen it all. And as an enrolled agent as well, and myself as a tax preparer too, we've seen that the viewpoint of a tax preparer to a viewpoint of now a reseller. And and it's great because this community Negoci helps you introduce you to all those different types of softwares that you need in order to succeed. Tony, I wanted to ask, do you have any questions for me, or is there something that this year that you've noticed that has been a point of view for this service bureaus?
Yeah, Juan. So one of the things that's really interesting about working with Juan is I still go back about 2 years ago when we were here in California, and we were having breakfast, and we're like, hey, it would be cool if we had like all the service bureaus like in the same room, and they could be sharing each other and information with each other and be able to kind of learn from each other. And so that's something, right, that we discuss. Ernest mentioned it too. Like every year, there seems to be more service bureaus and sub-service bureaus. And one for the people that are new, like maybe say Francisco here or Maria Beltran or Susana, can you explain a little bit? And we could do this also in español. Also, we
Sí,
could do
claro.
bilingüe, right? Yeah, I will do a little bit español. Para que entiendan, Juan, cómo trabaja los service bureaus. ¿Es posible tener como tu propio software? And just to take it back to basics for the next 15 minutes is, si tienes un service bureau, ¿tienes tu propio software o cómo trabaja, Juan?
Claro, so, un Service Bureau es un revendedor del programa de impuestos. Un Service Bureau puede vender 3 programas o puede enfocarse en un programa, dependiendo de la tecnología y lo que tú sepas y cómo funcionan los sistemas. Usualmente recomiendo que si conoces un programa que has usado por mucho tiempo, si vas a empezar a revender el servicio, te enfoques en algo que ya sabes, porque para enseñarle a alguien algo que estás aprendiendo tú es un poco más difícil, pero se puede hacer. Hay muchas maneras de empezar. La primera es necesitas un programa de impuestos que te pueda apoyar a congregar tu logotipo, tu tipo de programa, todo para que se vea totalmente como si es tu programa, porque realmente lo es. Tú lo estás trabajando, tú lo estás vendiendo. Otra cosa que necesitas un programa que te ayude a que tú controles quién entra, a que te explique las ventas, cómo lo puedes vender, qué se incluye. Hay muchas cosas que tenemos que aprender cuando empezamos a revender un sistema. Típicamente yo sugiero que empiecen con un programa, pero un programa que tenga todos los beneficios que va a necesitar el cliente. Como preparadores de impuestos, sabemos que necesitamos payroll, accounting, porque hay unos que ofrecen esos servicios. También hay unos que solo hacen taxes individuales. Hay otros que ofrecen corporaciones, las 1065, 1120, la 990. Te tienes que asegurar que tengas todos esos servicios circulándote para que cuando estés vendiendo el sistema puedas aclimatizarte al tipo de cliente con el que vas a trabajar. Por ejemplo, si el cliente quiere bookkeeping y un programa que ofrezca ah, business taxes, las 1065, las 1120, porque él no quiere nada que ver con lo de individual, entonces tienes que saber qué programa ofrece ese. Y hay muchas maneras de empezar. Típicamente yo digo, si vas a empezar, empieza con un programa y asegúrate que incluya todo, todo un paquete en el cual puedas ayudar a cualquier tipo de organización de contabilidad.
Sí, sí, y también, Juan, me estabas contando, me encanta, gracias por esa perspectiva, que recomiendas, como aquí vemos a Ángel, Andrea, diferentes negociantes, que teniendo como tu propio software es una manera de como crecer, porque puedes tener más oficinas sin que sean como tuyas las oficinas, ¿verdad? Como que les estás dando como apoyo a esas oficinas. Es una manera para escalar tu brand, ¿qué no, Juan?
Claro, sí, y yo siempre he dicho, bueno, ahora que sé hacer impuestos, por ejemplo, un ejemplo, yo sé hacer impuestos individuales. Corporativos no lo sé hacer, no los he trabajado, pero sé hacer impuestos individuales y llegó a un punto que yo ya sabía cómo hacerlo y quería aprender más. Ahora, yo podía irme a ser revendedor de un programa de impuestos porque tengo ah, conozco el mercado y puedo hacerlo, o puedo a hacer otra cosa. Por ejemplo, yo decidí irme en otra línea y irme con Tony a ayudar a crecer a negocio porque yo ya sabía hacer los impuestos, yo tenía hambre de aprender más cosas. Pero hay muchos de ustedes que tienen la gente que los rodea que quiere aprender a hacer impuestos. Y es donde viene la pregunta que Tony dice. ¿Cómo puedes hacer, no técnicamente hacer los impuestos tú, pero prácticamente todo está hecho debajo de ti? Después de que ya tienes esa sabiduría a la que tú llegaste, si quieres y tienes hambre y quieres aprender más, hay muchas maneras en las que puedes seguir. Y si escoges el paso de revender el servicio, de hacerlo totalmente tuyo, date cuenta que vas a tener miles de preparadores de impuestos, tal cual, miles de personas que pagan impuestos debajo de ti. Y es bonito saber porque tú estás ofreciendo ese servicio y debajo de ti hay mucha gente que se está beneficiando, que o con el servicio o monetariamente les estás ayudando a crecer.
Sí, me encanta, Juan. Y la última pregunta, and we'll do this one in English, because I want to bring in Will to this question. So, the question is, as a service bureau, you could resell other products, right, Juan? Like, for example, people resell Protection Plus, DocuBee, Tres Payroll, and other stuff. What do you think, Juan? And then I'll let Will speak.
Yes. So a lot of the service bureaus that I work with, they include other services so that they can grow their business monetary wise in different aspects. You always want to have different sources of income coming in, whether it's reselling the software, whether it's offering the bank product, whether it's offering a marketing product that's gonna give you more income to your pocket as well. For example, with OLT, we have our own payroll and accounting service that you can also white label as well, and it integrates with our software. So a lot of our service bureaus have integrated that white label into their software, and that's a whole different marketing side. So there's so many ways that you can integrate different products to grow your business and to have that residual income coming in.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I know Will was talking about also reselling other products, right? Will, like Tres Payroll, or be able to kind of sell merchant services with PayPal. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Will.
Totally. I feel like a lot of the service bureaus have been so healthy over the years, if I may say, that they only do the one thing during tax season, maybe after tax season, and they make good. As an outsider, I would always wonder, why not service them with other things, right? Payroll, like Juan said, servicing them and supporting them for accounting softwares, and other, basically being the person that they go to for their entire tech stack. If I wanted to grow a service bureau, and you're talking to a guy that doesn't have that much experience, I'm sure you guys have your reasons why you haven't done it. I would think about that as well. What else does a tax pro need to be able to grow their business other than marketing the same tax? Maybe it's accounting, payroll, and other softwares that bureaus could help them with.
Yes, and what people got to understand, that this is, I always see it like I love football, so I'm gonna use a football analogy. You have players that are great that play for one team, and then other people wanna bring them to another team because they're gonna do better, and them as the player, they decide to move because they know that they're gonna have a better program that runs to what they're used for. For example, a wide receiver wants a quarterback that can throw really well. And same with this market. This market, we have the tax software competition is it's plentiful. There's a lot of it. That you have people that resell the software. You have a direct tax software like me, and people bounce around. So there's only so much that you can sell as a service bureau with just selling the tax software. You want to make sure that you're competing with not just the wide receivers. You want those running backs to come in with you, and those running backs might be people that need payroll services. So you want to add that to your firm. You might need a defensive end. So, and that defensive end might need a marketing product. So you want to make sure you find out what marketing product can be white label so that you can resell that as well. That way your whole team in that analogy is complete, and you can bring in other sources that complete your team, and your ROI is just coming in regular.
Yeah, Juan. No, thank you, Juan. Thank you, Will, for that insight. And it's very interesting seeing different perspectives. As we mentioned, if you want to get more information on Juan's knowledge and experience and OLT Pro, from what I understand, it's an online system, right, Juan?
Yes, it's all web-based. It includes unlimited individual and business returns. Everything is online. We also have a phone application and a web application where your clients can see when the refund is due, how much they're gonna get. We have a discount running all the way till June 30th. And that discount is for $549. With the web services, everything's included, unlimited individual business returns. And if you would like to try a free demo here on our website, all you have to do is click on the free evaluation. We have a team of sales that's incredible. We try to stay on top of clients. So anything you need, feel free to reach out to myself or go on our website, and we have an incredible team that can help you answer any more questions as well. And remember, take advantage of the special that we're running all the way till June 30th, and we have better specials coming up for you at the Negoci events. So if you do attend, stop by our booth, because at every Negoci event, we will be running a special deal for you guys.
Awesome, Juan. Thank you for that information, for your insights, and for all the special discounts from OLT Pro. Gracias, Juan. Glad to have you in the ecosystem. Juan helped bring OLT. OLT is new this year, right? They weren't with us last year, so it looks like the industry's coming together around Negoci. And thanks for all your support, Juan.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony. Will, thank you. And it's good to see everybody in the team. Javier, you're doing an awesome job, man. Thank you guys for having me here. And I'm excited to see you guys and the rest of the ecosystem here at Negoci at all the other events.
Definitely. See you soon, Juan. To continue, 2 more sessions left. We have 1 panel and then 1 fireside chat with Mike Steele at the end here. But the next panel we have, brought to you by Santa Barbara Tax Products Group. We have our friend and colleague Eli. I know he's invited one of his clients on board. And then we also have Alberto Lara, Mauricio Castro, Alicia. I don't know if the team from All Tax Solutions is on. I don't know if they were able to make it today. But with that said, this next panel, it's about how to grow your service bureau in terms of sales and marketing, because sales and marketing is big key. And aside from that, they're going to share information on their own experiences, right? They all represent different parts in the industry, different brands. So I want to kick things off by introducing Eli from Santa Barbara Tax Products Group to tell us a little bit about what's new this year with TPG and what's on your mind. I know you have a lot of great ideas for serving service bureaus. So Eli, empezamos.
Absolutely. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. All right. So for those of you out there, my name is Eli Nunez. I'm going to do this a little bit in Spanglish, just in case there may be some language barriers there or what have you. So I represent Santa Barbara TPG, SBTPG. So I'm also AKA Mr. TPG, if anyone's out there asking. Anyway, I'm all about bank products. Just real quick, I'm going to talk to you about just 2 little things in 3 minutes. One, if you don't know what a bank product is, you need to know what that is, because if you don't, you're losing business. And it's basically when you're giving your clients the option to prepare their taxes and they don't pay you anything up front. So we get the money from the refund from the IRS, we send the taxpayer their portion, we send you your portion of the cost, and it's done. That way, you're not losing any clients. I'm sure that if you're listening to me right now, you're thinking of 1 or 2 people that came to your office that said, hey, I don't have the money to pay you right now, I might have to come back later. And the person may have come back, or you just completely lost that client. So if you provide bank products, that will never happen. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, that's not necessarily new, but something that over the years is not mentioned quite often, but when you do bank products and you have a healthy volume, I'm not gonna throw out numbers, you know, it could be 50, 100, 150, 300, 1,000, whatever more. You're giving your options to capital, okay? What do I mean by that? Right now, you're looking for software, whether it's OLT, Crosslink, going with e-taxes, Tax United, with whoever, reseller. You need money, okay? You're gonna be going out this summer to get IRS credits for continuing education. You need to set up your office. If you do bank products, or if you had done bank products and your volume qualifies it, we as a bank, SBTPG, we do loans. We can let you borrow money, which is a huge sticking point in the industry, because we know that you can put the money in the credit card, but your credit card is going to charge you 15, 20%, if not more, 24% for the money that you're borrowing. Okay? The interest rates that we charge are close to nothing compared to those rates. And we can give you access to capital. We don't run your credit. We don't take a blood sample. We don't need your left leg. Okay? None of those things. And that is something that nobody talks about. I don't know why. We sit here and we talk about bank products, and they're great. Yes, they're great. But I'm finding out that capital is more important. Okay? Because we all want money in our pocket. Okay? And conocemos como son, todos somos latinos. Me gusta el dinero. So why not give yourself the opportunity to offer bank products? Doesn't cost you anything. Your client pays for it all, and give you access to programs, give you access to capital that you will need now, that you will need in the summer, that you will need in the fall, that you will need when tax season begins in January of 2026. So I kind of want to stop there. I wanted to throw out those 2 little points. Tony, I don't know if you wanted me to follow up with a question, or if you have any follow-up questions, or if we want to go to another panelist.
No, I do have a question. We're going to intro Mauricio, Alicia, y Alberto. We'll intro them. But question, so what you're saying, Eli, through TPG, are they able to provide, I know they do like tax season loans, like the end of the year. I think that's the term. But what about for like the summer? Do they do some capital, some lending right now? Or do you think a lot of tax pros have enough money that they don't need loans right now?
So, no. So anybody that's listening to this call right now, they need money. Okay, I know that. But the loans for tax preparers, they begin in September.
Okay, September.
Okay, so beginning in September, you can access some of this cash, and those loans go from September all the way through January, and then we automatically collect once the big funding begins in February.
Okay, got it. Okay, just want to make that clear for people that are listening.
That's good. No,
that makes sense. Be like, thank you for that. Yeah, and to continue the panel, did you have a guest to join you today? I thought it was
So I did have someone coming on, but she had an inconvenience last minute, and she wasn't able to come on board. I sent you guys an email, but I know it was kind of last minute, but she could join.
No worries. Yeah, no, we always want to make it open to discuss. And also everybody listening, as we have this panel, if you have any questions or want to add a comment, you could do it on the chat or even raise your hand and we could include you to the conversation. But to continue here, I'm gonna intro Mauricio Castro from Taxes and Products Related next, and then he'll introduce Alicia. But tell us a little bit, Mauricio, la gente que no te conoce, how long have you been in the industry? What are you up to? Where are you located? All that good stuff, Mauricio.
Hi, Tony. Hi, guys. Welcome to be back again. Happy to be here. Yeah, we started in this industry 22 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I used to work for TaxWise, and then we started a service bureau, and this year is our 20th year anniversary. So we've been here only for a few years. we're a service provider, just like some of the other colleagues here, a service bureau. But what we do mainly is we see that the way we support the ERO, the offices, we provide like a quality service for the Hispanic market, but we believe there's a gap. There's a gap of service right now for the preparers in Spanish, and we fill that gap with 20 years of experience, knowing the industry. So there's very few things that strikes us every season as new, and that's what we provide to the EROs and anybody that wants to be a service bureau. We also help them with that baby step hand holding from starting with 1 or 2 offices to 10, 15, 20 and so on. So that's what we do. We also support different softwares. So kind of like our stuff is, connect with us and use whatever tool you want to use, and we'll plug to that tool, and you can use the tool that you want with our support.
Got it, got it. Y I'm gonna hacer en español para hacerlo bilingüe. So, ¿es posible, Mauricio, que si alguien aquí está escuchando que quiere comenzar un service bureau, en vez de irse directamente y estar solo, pueden estar como bajo tu brand, como un sub-service bureau? ¿Cómo trabaja eso?
Claro, claro. De hecho, incluso los softwares te van a recomendar esto a veces, porque el empezar un service bureau tiene unos costos con los softwares. Generalmente son unos costos, no son fáciles, son un poquito altos. Y te toca hacer todo el proceso a ti mismo. O sea, tienes que saber cómo vas a hacer todo. En este caso, agarras nuestra plataforma, nuestra experiencia, te metemos al sistema y decir, ok, ¿qué es lo que quieres hacer? Y te vamos llevando de la mano en, no te preocupes por esta parte, nos encargamos nosotros. No te preocupes por esto, nos encargamos nosotros. Y te vamos enseñando para que tú puedas ir manejando y tener más control sobre el proceso. Y ahora mismo tenemos sub-service bureaus que llevan 3, 4, 5 años con nosotros y cada año van subiendo, ¿no? Una cosita más en el reporte y pues los ayudamos paso a paso.
Sí, sí, entiendo, Mauricio. Y algo para agregar, Alicia, yo sé que tienes también mucho conocimiento de la industria.
Estás en mute, Alicia. Ahí está.
No,
Ahora
no
sí.
tanto conocimiento de la industria, pero sí, a mí me conocen como la mamá de todos, ¿no? Entonces yo tengo mucha paciencia porque empezar un negocio, cualquiera que sea, da mucho miedo, ¿no? Porque te estás enfrentando a algo que no conoces, no sabes si te va a ir bien, si no te va a ir bien. Entonces, lo que nosotros hacemos es guiarlos con la ayuda de la gente de Santa Bárbara, de Refund Advantage, de Padword, de los otros softwares, porque no estamos solos, ¿no? O sea, no nada más somos nosotros, sino tenemos el respaldo de toda la gente que está aquí, Santa Bárbara, Refund, OLT, Crosslink. Entonces, si lo quieres hacer solo, crear este tipo de relación con toda esta industria que tienes atrás es difícil. Y como lo decía Mauricio, estamos aquí para ayudarlos, para apoyarlos y para hacerles el camino más fácil, ¿no? Y como dice Mauricio, 22 años de recorrer ese camino, pues algo aprendió el muchacho en esos 22 años, ¿no? Entonces, que no se sientan solos, que no tengan miedo, estamos aquí para ayudarlos. Los productos bancarios a mucha gente le dan miedo, mucho, mucho miedo, y son la cosa más maravillosa que hay para un service bureau, son los productos bancarios.
Gracias por eso, Alicia. Sí, muy interesante esa perspectiva y que uno tiene, ¿verdad? Para entender si es posible empezar para que no empiecen solos. Don't start alone, right? There's an ecosystem here, hay una comunidad para apoyarlos. So, gracias por la perspective. Continuamos aquí. Let's invite Alberto Lara. So, I've known Alberto for a long time. Es el primer año, this is the first year que está aquí en the Negozi ecosystem, saludando. Yo sé que fuiste a Miami con los negociantes allá. Now you're here in acción in the Zoom. So welcome, Alberto Lara from Tax United.
Gracias. I'm going to mix it up too. I'm going to speak Spanglish. I'm going to start probably with the Spanish.
Está bien.
Creo que todo el mundo aquí
Perfecto.
hablamos español. Y bueno, sí, te echamos de menos en Miami. Estuvimos la semana pasada, el viernes, con Will, con Javier, el resto del equipo. Y bueno, un buen evento. Voy a hablar de mí también un poquito, si acaso, al igual que hizo Mauricio. Bueno, Mauricio y yo nos conocemos también de hace muchos años, fuimos colegas en la universidad y yo empecé en esta industria Él fue el que me introdujo a TaxWise. Al graduarse, empezó a trabajar ahí, y igualmente conmigo. Espero que se me escuche bien, ¿no? ¿Sí? ¿Se me oye bien?
Sí.
Bueno, creo que sí. Y, y nada, empecé a trabajar con TaxWise desde el 2004 hasta el 2020, eso solo fueron 16 años dentro del software, trabajando en la compañía en diferentes departamentos. Uno de ellos era desde el 2010 al 2020, estuve prácticamente enfocado solo en ventas eh, con los service bureaus, ¿no? Con distribuidores o gente que buscaba distribuir el software de TaxWise en este caso. Y en el 2020 me uní al equipo de Tax United. Ellos han sido distribuidores de TaxWise desde el año 2007. Entonces, si no me fallan las cuentas, creo que van 18 años. Y bueno, una de las cosas que hace Tax United también, pues impartimos cursos. El dueño de la compañía es un enroll agent y lleva haciendo cursos por años, de varios niveles, desde principiantes, gente que está iniciando en la industria, hasta corporaciones y avanzados y demás. Pero bueno, en este foro vamos a hablar un poquito más de lo que son los bank products, y creo que ya lo ha dicho antes Eli, también lo ha tocado Mauricio y Alicia. Lo fundamental para alguien que está iniciando, que aprende, es saber qué es un bank product, ¿no? Saber cuáles son los beneficios. Y aquí bromeamos a veces con un dicho de que, como dice, "All's firm empty". Bueno,
Creo que su internet está fallando, Alberto. There, I turned off your camera to help with the bandwidth. ¿Me escuchas? Okay, I think that's better.
I was saying with bank products, one of the key factors is that if people cannot pay upfront, you want them to miss out on the tax preparation if they cannot pay for the fees upfront. So that's the key aspect, educating the customer, educating the office on how the bank products work and how they can facilitate the refund at the time of the tax preparation. And then obviously on top of it, if there's the option of the ability to get the money faster, get a faster refund, then obviously that's the beauty.
No, perfect, Alberto. Una pregunta. I know you guys tienen muchas oficinas throughout the country. What's one of the ways para la gente que está escuchando? How do you kind of offer service during tax season? Does it get really busy? Is there a lot of tax questions? Do you hire more employees to kind of like fill that demand? How do you guys operate your tax season?
Yeah. So we keep the same staff all year round. We're lucky with that because obviously we know there's a heavier demand during, January through April. But then the rest of the year we stay busy. We prepare seminars and we do other things to get us ready again for the following tax season. But one of the things I wanted to touch to, if somebody has their office or has a couple of offices already, or they've been successful and they have the knowledge and the seniority to branch off or to take the step into becoming a service bureau, like Mauricio said, there are companies like ours that we can help them, before they make that jump on their own. But also one thing, and I don't know if I had this conversation with Will, with somebody else here in Spain, probably a few years back, but just make sure that, if you don't think you have enough hours during the day during tax season, keeping your tax office or offices, branching out and doing a service bureau is not going to give you more freedom or more hours. I mean, if you want to do everything, yes, but you're going to need more staff. You're going to need to hire people. You're going to need help because you're going to do the support for the offices that buy the software from you, or figure out a way. What's going to be your selling points? Why are people going to buy from you? And then you're going to be running a tax office. You're going to still doing tax preparation while you're also, answering phone calls or helping people that, are following you as a leader in the space, trusting you with the software, with advice and things like that. So not trying to prevent anybody from stepping out or branching into becoming a bureau, but just make sure that you plan for it. If you're busy already in your tax offices doing 500, 800 clients, in tax season. If you then pick up, or you're going to be servicing 10 other offices, that are maybe at a different level, they're starting out, things like that. So then you just have to plan for that, because they're going to be calling you for things, related to tax season. So
Yeah, thank you for that insight. So that's really cool, because you don't really we don't really learn that from the successful businesses like Tax United, about how do they kind of take on that influx, right? I know sometimes it's like an industry kind of secret. How do we do it? So I'm glad that we have this forum and Alberto's kind of sharing his business strategy. So gracias, Alberto. And same question para Mauricio and Alicia. How do you guys handle the influx, the spike of tax season? Do you guys have more employees? Do you guys use AI robots to answer questions?
Yeah,
What's the
I
strategy?
have a clone. So there's two of us on tax season, and no, we staff up a little bit. We also keep the same staff all year long, but during tax season, we'll bring a couple of extra people to help us in the support, because we have extended hours, right? That's one of the benefits of sometimes working with a service bureau and established service bureau, is that you have longer hours than the actual software has. So I know, we use TaxWise a lot, and we have longer hours, extended hours of that. So you do have to learn how to stack your staff to be able to, supply the demand of the calls, no? And after you do this a couple of years, you start realizing there's patterns. And once you can work with patterns, then you can be a little bit ahead of the curve to, not react, but you prepare. So that's kind of like how we deal with it.
Yeah, you're proactive, not reactive, ¿verdad? And I know, perfect. Thank you for that knowledge. And then also some question para Eli. I know TPG is known for having great customer service. Do you guys also ramp up or have different strategies for the peak season at TPG, Eli?
Yes, we do. So beginning in September, once enrollment opens, our customer service hours are expanded. And then we're also, I'm a sales rep, and then we have an entire team. We also expand our hours during the enrollment season. Then when tax season begins, that's when we really, have broader hours to make sure that we can cover all the needs that everyone has during the season.
Perfect. No, thank you for that. And just to kind of wrap up the panel, ¿cuál es un consejo, Eli, voy a decir en español, para la gente que está escuchando, que está pensando crecer sus negocios con un service bureau o abrir más oficinas? What do you recommend they do training, they get the right bank, they get the right software? What have you seen, Eli? What do the most successful service bureaus do? What is their kind of human behavior during the year?
La recomendación que yo les quisiera dar, un poquito de cómo habló Alberto, es que simplemente empiecen. Mucha gente tiene miedo y piensa, no, eso es demasiado, que una oficina, que tres oficinas, que tengo que esperar el momento correcto. Nunca va a llegar el momento correcto. Si usted quiere expandir su negocio y quiere ser como los grandes, como Mauricio, como Alberto, como esos otros service bureaus que existen allá en el mercado, usted simplemente tiene que empezar. Nadie le tiene una pistola en la cabeza diciéndole, no, usted tiene que tener 10 oficinas para empezar y tiene que venderlo rápido. No. Usted empieza con su propia, añade solamente una o dos, va creciendo a 4, a 6, 8, 10, 20, 30, y por ahí no se va. Si usted le pregunta a Alberto, le pregunta a Mauricio de cómo ellos empezaron desde el principio, ellos ninguno empezaron con 200 oficinas, ninguno. Y nadie lo ha hecho así. O sea, que simplemente, ese sería el consejo, que simplemente empiecen. Si tienen ese tipo de preguntas, pregúntenle a Alberto, pregúntenle a Mauricio de cómo simplemente empezar a vender su primer licencia para revender su software. Y ya cuando tengan eso, no se olviden de añadir a SBTPG como su banco para hacer productos bancarios. Pero ese yo creo que es la mejor sugerencia que yo le tengo a cualquier emprendedor, así sea para cualquier cosa, pero para especialmente ustedes preparadores que quieran abrir un service bureau, que no saben por dónde empezar, empiecen, denle para adelante, empiecen este año, no digan, no, que el año que viene, que después, empiecen, porque si no, se quedan atrás.
Me encanta ese mensaje y sí, para arrancar. I love it. Y la misma pregunta para Alberto, consejo para personas que están que te ven, es lo que pasa, right? Personas que están empezando te ven a ti, Alberto, te ven a Mauricio, a Alicia, wow, ustedes ya están los líderes de la industria, pero ¿qué piensas, Alberto, para personas nuevas? ¿Cuál consejo tienes para ellos?
No, obviamente, pues importante que hayan aprendido, que sepan con qué compañía van a trabajar el software, ¿no? En mi caso y en el Mauricio, pues ambos trabajamos para TaxWise por años. Entonces, obviamente fue un paso lógico, ¿no? A la hora de convertirnos en Service Bureaus o distribuir el software de TaxWise, puesto que ya lo manejábamos por años anteriormente. Y luego lo que dice Eli, pues tienes que buscar también cuál es, pienso yo, tu selling point, ¿no? ¿Por qué van a venir contigo? Obviamente tienes que tener un precio atractivo, pero vemos en la industria que hay gente que vende el software por 99 o venden en 2000 y pico, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, el precio puede ser relativo, pero ¿por qué? O sea, ¿qué más van a venir a ti? ¿Qué conocimientos o qué expertise? ¿Qué tips le vas a dar? Muchas veces los service bureaus pienso yo que originalmente funcionaban bien localmente, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, si estás ubicado, qué sé yo, en Orlando, en Florida o en Houston, Texas, pues intentar hacerte un nombre ahí dentro de tu mercado, ¿no? En tu radio. Obviamente después de años, pues ya se puede ir avanzando, ¿no? Pero digo, para estar empezando, convertirte en alguien que ¿por qué te van a seguir, ¿no? Y muchas veces surgen también lo que son pienso yo, en los últimos años ha habido afluencia de lo que son escuelas de impuestos, ¿no? O sitios donde poder aprender y educar, porque hay otras oficinas o otras personas que a lo mejor pues se meten y hacen seguros, ¿no? O hacen, pues como está todo el organigrama de negocio, ¿no? Que tenemos a la real estate y tenemos todos estos branches, ¿no? Entonces, pienso de que por ahí también si ofreces cursos de iniciación o tú ya tienes la experiencia de preparar taxes por años, pues obviamente te van a comprar a ti porque también puedes a lo mejor entrenar a gente que quiere aprender y que te ven a ti como un líder, ¿no? de tu región o de tu mercado y pueden aspirar a ser algo como tú, ¿no? De lo que tú has creado en tu negocio. Entonces, bueno, creo que puede ser una opción. No sé, Mauricio, ¿qué piensas?
Sí, creo que es tener un plan, ¿no? O sea, sí, tomar acción es lo principal, es lo primordial que tienes que hacer, pero otro es tener un plan. Y esa es eso, ¿no? O sea, si quiero empezar a vender, pues no puedo empezar en diciembre a vender el programa porque estás tarde. ¿No? El planning empezó ayer, ¿no? Ayer empezó el planning y tienes que sentarte y para eso estamos nosotros, ¿no? O sea, gente como nosotros que te dice, ok, pues vamos a sentarnos, hagamos un plan de trabajo, hemos visto esto muchas veces, te podemos dar sugerencias, herramientas, incluso herramientas gratis que puedas empezar a usar para que sea más profesional tu presentación, ¿no? Tu offering para que sea atractivo, ¿no? Y qué servicio vas a poder dar, porque al final del día la gente lo que está buscando ahorita es tener un buen servicio, especialmente en la industria hispana, creo yo, sigue habiendo ese gap, como lo dije al principio, sigue habiendo una brecha de servicio y de profesionalismo para el mercado hispano. Negocio es un perfecto ejemplo. Negocio es una herramienta ahora que nos une a todos en español para poder trabajar juntos. Y eso es lo que hacemos, ¿no? Entonces, ofrecerles esa planeación para que tengan una idea de las expectativas de que viene. No sé cuánto.
Gracias, Mauricio. ¿Algo para agregar, Alicia?
No, únicamente gracias, Negoci, por esta plataforma donde todos somos uno, ¿no? Claro, somos diferentes negocios, pero la finalidad es la misma, es ayudar a quien lo necesita. Y ustedes lo hacen posible, reunirnos a todos en un solo lugar, bajo una sola plataforma, para ofrecer ayuda, para guiarlos, para eventualmente poder hacer negocio, ¿no? Esa es la idea. Entonces,
Sí.
gracias a todos.
Así, Alicia. Gracias, Mauricio, Alicia, Ila y Alberto. Awesome panel. Aquí están para apoyarlos. Si quieren contactarse con ellos, ahí van a poner su información para pick their brains so you can learn from them, para aprender de ellos. Y como dijo Alicia, es lo que es Negozi. It's a peer-to-peer business network. So, entre todos, we do tax, insurance, real estate, capital, investing, lo que sea. Aquí andamos para apoyarnos y crecer juntos. So, thank you guys. See you soon.
Gracias.
Hasta la próxima. And to cap things
Yes.
off here, thank you guys. I want to invite a special guest, first time on the Negozi Network, Mr. Mike Steele from Ultimate Tax. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me today. And
Yeah,
it's
thanks for being.
yeah, it's been great hearing everyone. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, no, thanks for hanging out for the past 3 hours. I know I saw you logged in, so I think next time I'll make it a little bit shorter. Just a lot of great information. One of the reasons, and I'm gonna just jump right in. One of the reasons why we wanted to invite Mike into this forum is his vast knowledge of the industry. He has a lot of offices that work with them, and he has a lot of insight that we could all learn from, whether you're starting, whether you're a mid-sized service bureau, whether you're a bank, whether you're a software. And so to do this fireside chat, I'm going to bring in Javier, have Javier kind of talk with Mike, because Javier also has a lot of industry experience. So I'll pass you the mic, Javier, and then I'll be here listening and I'll chime in as well.
Hey, Mike. Hey, thank you for joining us.
You bet.
So, if you don't know who Mike is, he owns Ultimate Hex. I think you've probably seen him at the show. So when he walks in, he has that presence. So, for those of you who don't know who Mike is, I'll ask a couple of questions that way our members get to know you a little bit better. But I want to start out first is how long have you been in the industry and what got you in the tax industry?
Yeah, good question. So I have to think about it every year, but I think I just finished my 29th season in the tax industry. So what got me into it was actually my father. So back in 91, approximately 91, he started being a reseller, and it's a pretty simple story. He would get the list from the IRS. Back in the day, they were all just printouts, right? There was no download a list. So we get this printout and we just start calling. Literally, we just start calling out of the blue, cold calling. And that was my introduction to taxes. I went to school, got an accounting degree, and did taxes after that, and have done taxes ever since. But from the resale side, I had no idea what a reseller was, right? So back then, he was transmitting to the IRS using a couple different tax link and then or tax. So a couple names that maybe Ernest knows, right? 'Cause Ernest was there. There's a few guys here that ladies that might know some of those old names, but so yeah, it was a manual process way back then. I mean, that was when e-filing started. It was paper and pencil, right? Like I am that old, and I just love this industry is a blast because I like the tech side of things. I like tax, and I've just enjoyed the process. Yeah.
Gotcha. And we know the tax industry, it's a very competitive landscape. There's a lot of service bureaus out there. What have you done differently that kind of give you an edge and kind of stay ahead of the industry and the competitors?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm staying ahead of the industry, but I've been in it long enough to know that you have to take care of customers, right? So that's always kind of my motto with my staff. When I started this, I started on my own. My father sold his practice in 2005, and a year later, I started up my own, and basically just hand did 1,000 flyers, signed up 10 customers, and made $10,000. And I was like, there's something kind of cool here, right? I think for me, it was about keeping the brand, but also keeping a reputation, right? So we weren't taking advantage of customers in any way. We were helping them to the very best that we could. Yes, you get customers that you cannot help no matter what, and you can't be all things to every customer. So I mean, I've worked with Crosslink. I've worked with Drake, and I currently work with TaxWise. And so Ian and his group, they've just done a great job working with me together. Like Ashley said, they're there to build a business. They're there to help, and my account reps do that there. So they've helped me grow along, for years now.
Okay. And for those, for our members and everybody watching live right now, what obstacles did you have early on, and how did you overcome them?
So probably one of my biggest challenges was super early on. I was with Tax in 2006 and 7, and then I signed up about 100 offices during that time, and then Tax sold out, and it was October, November, I think November 8th, maybe, in 2008. And at that time, it was a big decision, right? Because I had all these customers, I had to provide software, and I had to make a decision. And TaxWise said, "Hey, come with us." And I was like, "Well, hang on." So I had to make a good, informed decision. I went to a couple different providers, and I made the best decision I could at the time, and it turned out to be the right decision. But um, so that was a big obstacle. And then, of course, challenges every year, right? Like we all deal with the tax changes, the challenges of running a business, right? So for me, it's been about being a business, and so we're here year round, and it's not just like that we say we're year round. I made a huge commitment to keep my staff year round because in the beginning, I would hire a bunch of temporary people. We would answer the phone the best we could, and it was a challenge, right? Like, so when you're growing, it's fun and it's exciting, but you also have to realize you have customers that need you and depend on you, right? And so I made a commitment to invest in technology and invest in my staff.
Okay, perfect. And you mentioned that during tax season and it's busy season. How do you prepare your team for that long tax season?
Thankfully, I've had some people that have been with me for a few years now, right? So I've got a great team, and they kind of get it. But we've spent a lot of time the last few years on processes. We've adopted a company called Trainual that is documents, processes, and procedures. That's been huge in helping train my staff, because in the past we would hire, train, and put people on the phone, but being able to take the time with people year round has definitely helped out.
Gotcha. And for all our members watching, is there a business idea or something, some advice you would give them for somebody just starting out?
Yeah, the simple things: take care of your customers, treat it like a business, right? It's a baby. You got to take care of it. You got to nurture it, and you got to reinvest in it. So it's fun. I mean, in this industry, in this business, I've been able to do a lot of different things, whether those are fun. But I also have challenges, right? So when you get a letter from an attorney general, answer it. Don't freak out. Just take one thing at a time and deal with them, right? Don't ignore challenges.
Gotcha. And for you, I know like the technology is always changing, and I think the number one thing right now is AI.
Yeah.
Have you implemented any AI, or where do you see that going within the
Yeah. So I got in the development space about 5 years ago, and I started a company called ProClient, and it's my CRM, document management, invoicing, all the things that everybody else says they have now too. So we're starting to implement some AI in there just to help ease the automation and the daily tasks that people are doing. But we use, so my secret sauce for customer support is we use Zendesk. And so along with Zendesk, we've built a huge knowledge base of articles, solutions, but then we use the AI side of the chatbots to assist in helping with customer support.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
And then one other thing is when you have an idea or something that you want to implement, how do you bring that to life?
So in the early days, I would say, this is a good idea. Let's do it next year, right? And it was always like this, like, let's do this next year. And so you come up with this idea. Hey, I got this idea. Let's put it down and we'll think about it. And then a few years ago, we had some cool ideas or something in support, and I'd be like, why are we waiting until next year? People need taken care of now. And so we would start implementing a lot quicker. But I do have a team. We have about 20 people on staff. And so we meet constantly. We're all in the same location, so it's easy to get together. And we talk about the ideas and how it could help our customers. So we'll easily implement.
Okay. And my last question for you is, what's one industry trend that you see that excites you moving forward in the future?
Well, I'm pretty diverse in multiple different businesses, so for me, it's just always say challenging. I love this industry. Honestly, I was pretty excited this week with whatever the big fat bill was that got introduced. Thankfully, there's tons of tax code in there that's going to just muddle everything up. And I think it keeps us in business for quite some time.
Gotcha. Perfect. And Tony, do you have any other questions for Mike?
No, yeah, no, that's true, Mike. The tax legislation, right? It kind of gets people excited. It's May. People are looking forward to the next tax season already because of like all the new credits, all the new refunds. But no, overall, no, I appreciate you making time for us and being able to share, right? Because I think that speaks a lot about who you are and your business, where other people could learn from people like Mike that have done it for so many years and have grown over the years. And so is there anything, my only question, is there anything that still surprises you, Mike, as you kind of go through your season or go through your year? Anything like whether it's like something at the tax forums that you see or like a client calling you in March or something that kind of like, hey, that still surprises me.
Well, I mean, the questions that customers ask, that always surprises me. And I will say that you're gonna be asked some crazy stuff, right? Like most people in here have said, and if you're a new service bureau or you're just thinking about it, if you do taxes, if you have some integrity and you like enjoy the industry, um, the questions that new preparers or experienced preparers ask, I think I'm dumbfounded all the time, right? Like, are they really asking that, right? Like that was 4 years ago. Why are they still asking about it? Or it's, but at the same time, like it's kind of fun. I like maybe I'm just weird in the fact that like we are we try to be a trusted resource, right? But tax code is there could be so many different ways to interpret things. But at the end of the day, like just provide good support, walk your clients through stuff, and continue to help them out. You'll be fine. Like just enjoy what you're doing, reinvest. I've done this a number of years, and I continue to do it because I enjoy it. I enjoy the relationships. You know, he said this is a big industry. There's a lot of resellers now. There's a lot of this is a small industry. I mean, if you put it into perspective, when you go to a trade show and you walk into a trade show, if you haven't been to one, you should at least go to one just to get the experience. But as big as you think taxes are, it's a pretty small knit group, right? Take care of your customers, but also take care of your relationships with vendors and those that you meet at trade shows and or virtually, right? Don't disrespect people because if they have a TPG shirt on, they might have worked at 3 different places before that in the industry. And it doesn't mean they created a bad relationship. It just means that they know a lot of people and it's a close-knit industry. Stay positive and be helpful. Because again, there's a lot of great people in this. I see it as a close-knit industry.
Yep. Okay. And Mike, if somebody's interested in reaching out to you, what's the best way they can communicate with you? Or
just going to ultimatetax.com. I mean, that's like our main site. And otherwise, I mean, if you have some direct questions, I'll throw my it's just Mike at ultimatetax.com. It's no secret. Yeah.
And I'm assuming that if anybody here wants to work with you, become a service bureau underneath you, is that available? Could people buy your software obviously and go underneath you? Yeah.
We a couple of years ago we kind of broke our own mold where we really got into selling helping resellers out. So we don't just set you up in software. We actually do all the back end stuff, so you don't have to learn any one of the back ends of all the transmitters. Because if you come from one and go to another, the back ends are all different, right? So we help with that. We do custom co-branded my account site, so people, it's not just custom software. We obviously do all that. But we also do a customer portal that's co-branded for each reseller. And then we do bank apps and all that fun stuff there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, amazing. See, we'll be sure to have you back so you can kind of go over and demo some of the ways you empower service bureaus. And I think that's a really powerful a tool and resource here. So, but I'm really excited that for this first session, you shared a lot about who you are and your thoughts about the industry. But Mike and his team could help you guys start a service bureau, grow your service bureau, and be successful. So thank you for being with us, Mike.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's great.
Awesome. Oh, I don't know if you have any questions. Well, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, somebody finally said it. Mike finally said it. We all work in the same location, and we move a lot faster by doing that. And I'd like to let everyone know here that the pandemic is over. So let's get back to work. Come back to the office. If it's that difficult, you know, let's have a coffee or something, because last I checked, I had to go to work every day for 30 years before I started my entrepreneurial thing. So, and I appreciate the little nuggets of tech stack, the tech stack that you have with Training and Zendesk. Those are the little things that can go a long way when somebody's starting out, especially, and even when somebody feels like they're in a rut in the middle and they make a couple changes and then they finally feel more excited about where they're going. Thank you, Mike.
Awesome. You're welcome to be back.
Awesome. So thanks everyone. We're gonna make just some last minute announcements and we'll end the day. Any announcements, Javier? I know we have the Service Bureau Academy coming up soon.
Yes, let me see if I can share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah, so I'm excited to now. So we started our tax academy and our Negozi tax school. Next week we will have Mauricio and Alicia from Taxes and Products Related, and they'll be going over some different forms. And then the next week after that, we're going to have Sigma on, and they're going to have a class on how to protect your EFIN once you get your EFIN. Anything to add on this, Mauricio, that you want to add on this class, what people can expect?
Yeah, really is just a little bit of what we do for our clients. We see like what are the top questions that we get throughout the year. We kind of create a little bit of a workflow. This one is kind of like an overview of some of the things that we see and some of the workflows that we have and some of the worksheets. So it's kind of like just to give them a little bit of a sense of what to expect when you work with someone like us.
Perfect. And for those service bureaus that are still on, Mike and Alberto and Jasmine and Abe, we're running this Negozi tax school because we ran a poll on Negozi, and we have a lot of members that only have P10s. Actually, we have 36,000 people that don't have P10s that are interested in getting EFIN and starting their own office. They just don't know how to do it. So that's one of the reasons we started this Negozi tax school, is to educate them, and then also give them a platform where they can go maybe get underneath a service bureau and get trained up, and then have a successful tax season.
Awesome. Thank you, Javier, for that information. And the last thing is the next Negozi event is June, New York. Tell us a little bit in 30 seconds about what can we expect in June 12th, New York City.
30 seconds. We're gonna have some of the better Northeast tax preparers there. I'll be talking a little bit about EIDL and what's going to happen for people that didn't pay it, and now that it's with the Department of Treasury, which is a big deal for a lot of our business clients. Jesus Avicaram is going to be there to talk about tax resolution. Avicaram is going to be there to talk about tax planning. We're going to have a couple of lawyers there to talk about contracts and immigration. Then after that, at 4 o'clock, we got between 4 and 6. Got a big mixer with food and a DJ. And at 5:30, we're going to do our podcast live. We have a Cafecito con Negozi podcast on Spotify now, guys. And we're going to do that live, and then everyone's going to have a good time. And that's it. It's our 4th year running. We call it Emprende 360 NYC. And it's Thursday, June 12th at the Queens Botanical Garden from 1 to 4, and then the mixers from 4 to 6.
Awesome. Yes, exciting to be there. And I think we're going to cover a little bit also of the new tax law changes. So we're really keeping up with everything that's coming up so we could have it there. But with that said, thanks everyone for hanging on to 3.5 hours. So our next Service Bureau meeting is going to be July 16th. Same format. We're going to probably cut it down to 2 hours. Not that long, but let us know if you want to be a speaker in that, July 16th. And then we'll see many of you at the tax forums in Vegas, at the tax events in Orlando and San Diego, and much more. So thank you for your time.
And Tony,
let's
go
ahead, Javier.
We are having our National Service Bureau Conference in San Diego, September 18th and 19th. We've actually partnered up with NARAP, and so we're expecting about 4,000 people there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be like 500 tax pros with Negozi, and it's part of a bigger conference with other real estate investors and insurance people. So it should be good. So we'll send info for maybe if anybody's interested to be on stage, maybe we'll get Mike there or anybody else if they're able to. Especially if you guys are going to the San Diego IRS Tax Forum, it's the same week. So just stay there 2 extra days and hang out with us in San Diego for the whole week. Thank you. for that, Javier, for that announcement, and Will and the team. And see you soon. Have a good day, everybody.
Yeah, everyone.
Have a good day, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks for your time.